Welcome to the April 14th, 2026 regular meeting of the City of Troy Planning Commission. Copies of the agenda for tonight's meeting are available at the entrance to the room, and agendas and minutes for prior meetings are available on the city website. The meeting will be conducted in accordance with the agenda as presented or amended tonight.
State law establishes planning commissions. This planning commission is comprised of 9 residents appointed to serve our community. Members are appointed by the mayor and confirmed by city council. Other individuals participating in the meeting include representatives of the city's planning department, the city attorney's office, and the city's planning consultant, Carlisle Workman Associates.
If you wish to address the Planning Commission, please come forward to the lectern when recognized and clearly print your name and address on the sign-in sheet, and then begin your remarks by stating your name for the benefit of the commissioners. All remarks are to be addressed to the Planning Commission and not to anyone else in the room. If you have a cell phone or any other device that might disrupt the meeting, please turn it off or silence it. And at this time, I ask the Planning Commission Recording Secretary, Kathy Zarnicki, to conduct the roll call.
Mr. Buechner?
Here.
Mr. Faison?
Here.
Mr. Fox?
Here.
Mr. Hudson?
Here.
Mr. Krent?
Here.
Mr. Lambert?
Here.
Ms. Malala-Holly? Here. Ms. Parakis?
Here.
Mr. Tagle?
Here.
Quorum present.
Thank you. Next is the approval of tonight's agenda.
So moved.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
I just want to state for the record that when we meaning I, put the agenda together, I didn't call this out as a public hearing. It was notified per state law, et cetera, but this should clarify it's a public hearing. So just
Okay.
as a reminder, this will be a public hearing.
Yep, okay, got it, thank you. I think we had a motion by Mr. Buechner, seconded by Tyler.
Yep.
Mr. Fox, any edits? Okay, I think we're ready for the vote.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala-Holly? Yes. Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Yes.
Mr. Buechner?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is the approval of the minutes from our March 24th, 2026 meeting. Would anyone like to make a motion?
Motion to approve.
Okay, Mr. Fox, Mr. Lambert seconds. Any issues, edits, suggestions? Okay, I think we're ready for the vote.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
Yes.
Mr. Krent?
Yes.
Mr. Lambert?
Yes.
Ms. Malala-Holly? Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
Abstain.
Mr. Buechner?
Yes.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. Next is public comment for items that are not on the agenda. So if anyone's here tonight to speak on something that's not on tonight's agenda, please come up now. After you sign in, we'll give you 3 minutes.
Okay, sorry, having a bad day. Mary Ellen Barden. At last night's special meeting, Councilmember Chamberlain Karenga started her comments with the statement, "What keeps me up at night?" Wow, what a testimony to her commitment to Troy. I have been told I come across as not wanting change. I would like to clarify that I'm not opposed to change. I'm opposed to it affecting longstanding neighborhoods and residents. I lose sleep over trying to figure out how to protect the reasons people moved here. I fear I will not learn quickly enough to protect our established neighborhoods. I'm concerned that our master plan, which involves many references to density, will go too far. The traffic study I read for Big Beaver placed it at near capacity. The study was conducted before many of the additions, and yet we continue to squeeze things in. I'm left wondering to what end. I wonder how many similar traffic studies have been ignored. So you may ask, what is my motive? My motive is a voice for those who are unable. As a single mother, it was not a matter of caring, it was a matter of available time. It required me to believe in the city's vision at the time I bought my home. Sorry, but I'm a little disappointed. My motive is to be an example of constructive dialogue. I'm here because I am concerned that the city is giving up court-ordered space, especially when I have friends visit and comment, what the hell happened? When did Troy abandon its open concept? Using my neighborhood as an example, I can definitely say that no one showed up for us. Previous councils ignored my request to maintain the court-ordered buffer for our neighborhood in favor of ambitious developers and corporations. It allows me to see why so many residents have conspiracy theories. I do not believe the data center buddy in our neighborhood, which the council at the time gave away 60 feet of our buffer, had conspiracy issues. I choose to move on from that and look to the future. This committee has a great deal of power regarding the shaping of our city. I often hear your state supports I hear you state it supports master plan. I believe it is time to make improvements to the master plan's emphasis on density. I also want to say I believe this committee is devoted to Troy. Otherwise, why would you donate your time? I hope I am not being naive in my belief.
Thank you very much for coming tonight. Is there anyone else here who'd like to speak on an item that's not on tonight's agenda? Okay, seeing no one, we're going to move on to our public hearing, which is a special use approval and preliminary site plan review. SU JPLN 2024-0007. It's the proposed L Car Wash, northwest corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder, 2955 and 2995 East Long Lake, Section 12, currently zoned Neighborhood Node J zoning district. And I will turn it over to Mr. Carlisle.
Yeah, thank you. A little background about the proposed application in front of you tonight. It's a revised application to develop a car wash with a second-story office space at the northwest corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder. It's 2 parcels, and the subject sites are both zoned NN Neighborhood Node Form District Site Type A. We do note that the auto wash does require a special use approval. The office space and the second story is permitted by right. With regards to zoning, the site is the little star on the left-hand side. It's surrounded by neighborhood node to the north and to the south. We want to note that Sterling Heights is directly to the east of this project, so it's right on the border of Sterling Heights and the City of Troy. The aerial on the right shows kind of the context of the site with regards to surrounding land uses. We note to the south is a gas station. To the west is an Arby's drive-through. To the northeast is a Comerica Bank and the parking lot for a Kroger. And kitty corner to the southwest is a gas station as well. A little history about this proposed site. The application was discussed at the November 12, 2025 meeting. There was discussion on the car wash use as itself, proposed architecture, traffic impact, the number and impact of the vacuum spaces, compatibility with the neighborhood node standards, the site plan review standards, and the special use standards. After a lengthy discussion, including a public hearing, the Planning Commission made a vote to approve the special use, however, that vote failed 5-4. There was no follow-up vote to actually deny the application. So the vote of denial of the vote to not approve the measure 5-4 went forward. That proceeded to litigation, and as part of the litigation, the judge sent it back to the Planning Commission because he found the record of denial was incomplete. So that's what we're considering tonight, is a site plan and special use in front of you. This is a proposed site plan being proposed tonight. The building itself is outlined in red. The yellow box is an indoor vacuum and parking space area. You note there is an access off DeQuinder, which is a right out only, and we do believe it's a a right in as well on DeQuinder, but that should be confirmed by the applicant, as well as a full access point along Lake. The 3 arrows to the top corner of the site indicate the 3 locations of the stacking spaces for the drive-through use. With regards to the application layout itself, there were 3 modifications that the Planning Commission should be considerate of. The first is, if the Planning Commission remembers, they had an outdoor kitchen barbecue area essentially along Long Lake. That has been removed, and the applicant has replaced that with a vestibule entrance for the second-story office use. So that's what that little bump out at number 1 indicates. The second change is they've actually enclosed the attendant booth at the pay station. That was kind of a separate outlot or outbuilding that they've actually now enclosed as part of the main structure of the car wash. And the third is noted before, they have enclosed an area indicated by number 3 there, which is enclosed as 17 vacuum spaces and then also provides 7 covered spaces for the second floor use. All other items of the site itself remain the same, including parking, lighting, landscaping. It's all consistent with the previous application. We do note that the applicant is asking 1 deviation. As the Planning Commission is aware, there's a 10-foot build-to line in the form-based district. The applicant is seeking approval to put it at 21.2 feet. And then within that area, they have landscaping and an outdoor plaza area, but they are asking for that deviation. There are no other deviations that are being sought for as part of the application. Again, as noted, they do comply with the landscape requirements, including greenbelt, screening, parking lot, and overall site landscaping, and their lighting fixtures do comply in photometrics. Again, there's been no changes to the application for that. This is intended to show kind of a massing of the proposed building. Again, the frontage, I can see here, this is Long Lake, this is DeQuinder, so you've got a two-story massing along Long Lake, and then as well as a two-floor massing here on DeQuinder. This is the enclosed vacuum and parking area. And again, the office building is going to be on the second story here with the proposed car wash here fronting on Long Lake. This is the elevation that would be facing DeQuinder. Height is compliant at 32 feet. We do note the exterior colors are white and gray with a magenta and blue, bright blue accent. And the primary materials are brick, aluminum composite, and EIFS as an accent. We do think the planning commission should have some discussion on the amount of EIFS being proposed. This is the elevation facing Long Lake. So this is the primary elevation you'd see of the building. Again, that first kind of front with a little stone massing on the bottom, that's where the drive-through is actually located behind that. Sorry, the car wash for the drive-through. With regards to transparency, this was a question that came up, was are they compliant with transparency? They are compliant with transparency, however, they are seeking a slight deviation with regards to the transparency alternative. This is for both Long Lake and DeQuinder. By ordinance, they're required to have 50% transparency along those two elevations. They are seeking an alternative for both those elevations with a change in the scaling elements, the variation in material, and the green screen. The elevation on DeQuinder is very close. The amount of alternative they're seeking is I believe, is a 10% relief from that 50% requirement. The elevation along Long Lake seeks a little bit more transparency relief. I believe it's around a 40% relief for that elevation itself. There are three sets of standards the Planning Commission should consider. The first set of standards is the design standards set forth in the neighborhood node. We spent a lot of time talking about this in our previous reviews. Orientation, activation, transitional features, as well as site access, parking, and loading. There are three standards the Planning Commission should consider with regards to site plan review, ensuring compatibility to existing commercial districts and transition of land uses, ensuring incorporation of the best architectural practices, and lastly, enhancing the character, environment, and safety of pedestrian and motorists. And lastly, we do note this is a special use, so there are 7 special use standards the Planning Commission should consider. Compatible with adjacent uses, compatible with master plan, potential traffic impacts, impacts on public services, compliance with zoning ordinance standards, impact on the overall environment, and lastly, any special use specific requirements. One of the questions that's come up from the Planning Commission for this application was how many car washes we have existing in Troy. There are 11 car washes in Troy. Those 11 car washes are outlined with the red dots. The proposed application is that star located in the north east section of this map. We do note that we did not map adjacent car washes in Sterling Heights and Madison Heights. There are a few that don't show up on this map, but there are 11 car washes in Troy. So we are recommending the Planning Commission hold a public hearing and consider the following: the 20-foot, 1-foot build-to line along East Long Lake. Does the application comply with the design standards? Does it comply with the special use standards? And does it comply with the site plan review design standards? The Planning Commission, based on that discussion, may either approve the resubmitted site plan and special use or deny it. We do note, though, however, if the Planning Commission does deny the submission, we do state that the record should be clear for the reasons for denial. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Carlisle. Does anyone have any questions for Mr. Carlisle? Yep, go ahead, Mr. Fox.
So one thing I wasn't clear when reviewing the materials. So we were ordered by a judge to rehear the case that we previously saw. This is a different application to what we previously saw. So I guess I'm just curious, I guess I'm just confused because from the way that I understand the judge's order is that we needed to look at the previous version again and then give our reasons for denial. But then the applicant has come in with a new proposal that is different than the previous one. So I guess from the city's legal team, would you be able to expand on that a bit?
Yes, Mr. Notson, please.
The circuit court judge did order a remand, which normally would just require you look at the previous application and then come up with your conclusions and findings. But this is really a new application because there's been revisions, and because of that, it's not a traditional remand, but instead should be treated like a brand-new special land use.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yep, Mr. Buechner.
Brent, Ben, can you guys talk about the neighborhood node, how this is affected?
So I can answer that in two parts. One is the planning commission spent a lot of time on the master plan, and we focused on this node and talked about this node as part of the master plan process. In it, obviously, there's many elements of the neighborhood nodes with regards to serving the adjacent neighborhoods, ensuring there's pedestrian walkability aspects, ensuring there's good design, as well as buildings located close to the street. We do note that this particular node with regards to master plan did talk about, because it's located adjacent to Sterling Heights, that it could be, in addition, have uses that support more of a regional nature than what we would see in more of the internal neighborhood nodes that we talk about. So that's the master plan element. The zoning ordinance changes have not come into effect yet. So we are still reviewing this under the current zoning ordinance requirements for neighborhood nodes. So if you'll remember, the proposed language for neighborhood nodes eliminates this use, eliminates automobile washes from the neighborhood nodes. However, it's not been adopted, so we're applying the current ordinance as well as the current standards that do allow for car washes as part of a special use. So we're asking you to consider it under the current requirements of the neighborhood nodes.
Thank you.
Mr. Fox?
For the point of legal consistency then, is this currently neighborhood node J or G? Based on the fact that the ordinance has not changed yet. I just don't want it to be like, oh, we named the wrong one in the motion.
It's what's the current ordinance
The
label.
node, okay. Maybe we're just saying the node at DeQuinder and Long Lake would appropriately address and there wouldn't, okay.
Ms. Malala Holly?
Thank you. Mr. Carlyle, can you just refresh my memory regarding whether the previous, I know this is a new application, we just talked about it, but in the previous one, were the vacuums covered?
So, the previous application, so the site layout has not changed. The only change physically from the previous layout is that this box, this yellow box, is now enclosed. And there's a garage door here and a garage door here. This was previously open, just parking lot with vacuums in the open air parking lot. So that yellow is that is a change where they physically enclosed that parking area and those vacuums.
And is this typically seen in car washes, this enclosure space?
Yeah, it's more common than not these days with car washes. I think I'm not a car wash expert, but I certainly reviewed a lot of car washes recently. I think there's two reasons. One is, as we all know, there's a lot of car washes, and the market for car washes is very competitive right now. And so many of the car wash operators feel that an indoor enclosed vacuum area is a competitive advantage for them. It differentiates them from a competing, perhaps, car wash. Second is it allows you, a user, to vacuum their car in bad weather. So in the winter, rain, et cetera. So it just expands the season of the vacuum area that they couldn't do if it were for outdoor vacuum. So I think for those two reasons, we're seeing the higher end car washes, we're seeing enclosed spaces more than we're seeing them not with them in recent submissions.
So what about the noise level then, considering that these vacuums, let's say 5, 6, 7 are being used at the same time? What are we looking at in terms of the decibels?
The internal sound level, externally it'd be quieter because they're internal than they were before. Internal noise volumes, I'd have to defer the applicant in terms of what those noise levels are.
That's a point I would like to definitely hear
Okay.
in considering this application. Yeah.
Mr. Tagle?
Ben, could you just restate what is the percentage variance they're requiring on the transparency along Long Lake and on DeQuinder? I thought I heard you say that the requirement is 50% and they're asking for a 40%?
Yeah, so, and I think the architect's here, he can actually double check my numbers when he comes up, but on the front of buildings on neighborhood nodes, you're required 50% transparency. However, in the nodes, you can seek up to a 50% relief from that requirement. So what I'm saying is they're seeking a 60% of the 50%. So the math is what, 30% relief from what they're required along the frontage. So they have a pretty significant amount of transparency, but they are seeking about a 30% requirement relief from that total that they need to provide. The DeQuinter side's a much less relief. It's about a 10% relief from that requirement.
Say that one more time
Sure.
about the Long Lake side.
So they're required 50%
Right.
along Long Lake.
Yep.
They are asking a relief for about 30% of the total amount they're required to provide.
So they provided 20%.
They provided. Let me.
30% of 100 is 15%, right?
Yeah. Let me double check my
30%
math
of
and I'll get
50.
back to you. The relief on DeQuinter is much less than the required relief on
Right.
Long Lake. We looked at it and didn't think the requested relief on Long Lake was a substantial request for a deviation that the planning commission can consider that amount. But I'll get you the actual figure. Yeah.
Thanks.
Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, I don't know if this will go to Mr. Carlisle or Mr. Savidan, but one of the concerns that's been raised by some of the emails we received were about traffic impact. And I was wondering if there was a reason why a traffic study was not done on this. I can't recall when we dealt with this a year and a half ago if that was requested at that time or not.
Yeah, quite simply, like I do with every application, I consult with the city engineer, who's also the traffic engineer. I asked his professional opinion whether a traffic impact study was required, and he said no, given the characteristics of DeQuinter, the traffic counts on DeQuinter and Long Lake. In his professional opinion, a traffic impact study was not required for this particular use at this location.
Anybody else have questions for the planning department at this time? Okay, then I think we'll invite the applicant up at this time.
Should I sign in?
Yes, please.
Want the PowerPoint first?
That'd be great, thank you. So I can probably do both at the same time. Good evening, I'm Gabe Schuchman. It's good to see everybody again. Thank you for having us. The meeting was 2024.
Yeah.
Last time I stood in front of you guys. During that time, we spent a lot of time trying to figure out how to make this plan work, how to really fit within the neighborhood node district. We listened. We spent a lot of time trying to put together a plan that hopefully you guys will find better. And so we're going to try to do this evening is we're going to run through the changes to the plan first. Mitch Harvey, he's here. He's with Stonefield Engineering. He'll jump into that. Then I invited the team from Krieger Klatt. They're the architectural team. Then after that, I have the team from Rainbow Connection, because this is just not an L car wash. This is going to be an important home for Rainbow Connection as well. So we're excited to tell that story as well. And we'd started that in 2024, but that story has only grown and gotten that much better. So again, thank you for your time. I appreciate you guys listening to us and hearing our story, and I'll pass it along to Mitch. And I'll sign in Mitch as well.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Gabe. Good evening. My name is Mitchell Harvey with Stonefield Engineering. My address is 555 Old Woodward, Birmingham. We're excited to be here tonight to present the improvements to the mixed-use development between the El Car Wash and the Rainbow Connection located at Long Lake and DeQuinter. And Gabe introduced the whole team, so I'll spare everybody by going through that again. But I'll jump to the next slide. So maybe to clear up some confusion, this was the plan that we reviewed back in 2024. And then I will jump to the new slide and really highlight first the most impactful improvement that we made was adding this enclosed vac or parking area. Not only does it provide an opportunity for the customers to vacuum their cars out and the employees of the Rainbow Connection to park their car covered during the winter, but it also extends that building mass up DeQuinter Road. So this is a full-on structure This black and white plan only does such a good job of showing it, but in future slides, we'll see 3D renderings that kind of exemplify this a little bit better. We've also located the 7 employee parking spaces for the Rainbow Connection right next to their main entrance, so parking is a lot easier for them. We've also enhanced the kind of pedestrian or plaza, if you will, at the corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder, and added a entrance to that Long Lake frontage. So the idea being there is employees of Rainbow Connection can go down, use that plaza, and then also service the building, the businesses along East Long Lake and DeQuinder. So going east to the Kroger development, and then north we have Taco Bell. To the west we have Arby's. So now into the more pretty pictures, the renderings. So I want to highlight a few things here. The first being the evergreen or green screening that we're proposing along the north and the west buffer of our property line. So just to orientate everybody, this is a view from above DeQuinder Road. So we have a fairly substantial screening row of evergreen trees along the northern property line. There's a few deciduous trees mixed in there, and actually at the corner we're able to maintain some of the existing more mature trees. And provide a pretty substantial buffer. The 12 spaces that are going to be outside, those are going to be paved with a pervious paver. So that's improving the site from a stormwater management standpoint using a BMP that we think is going to be really well suited here for those VAC spaces. Now switching over to kind of a bird's eye view from Long Lake. Again, I would just like to highlight this image might show it a little better, that green evergreen screening along the western property line. And then we're also including a bioretention basin along this Long Lake Road frontage. All in all, from a landscaping standpoint, the entire site is going to be fairly well landscaping. Just under 33% of the site is going to be landscaped. The ordinance requires 20, I believe, so we're substantially above that. We're bringing in 150 trees to the site of various species, evergreen and deciduous. So with my last little bit of time here, I would like to just highlight some of the neighborhood node discussion items that's been talked about. So we are neighborhood node J, but we are site type A. And really development within neighborhood nodes is inherently tricky. It requires the site plan development team to get creative when coming up with design standards to meet the goals and the intent of these type of districts. So I want to just highlight how our plan meets a lot of these goals and standards and ultimately the intent of the neighborhood node district. So I'm just going to read the first paragraph, bear with me, of the neighborhood node district based on the most recent zoning ordinance that was posted online. The neighborhood node NN district is derived from a 2008 City of Troy master plan, which specifically identifies 12 specific intersections that play a critical role in the daily function, image, quality of life, and continued viability of the city. These nodes vary widely in character, but share common characteristics. So I'm going to go through and just touch on a couple of these characteristics. The first one that we see a lot is mixed use. So we are site type A. So again, looking towards the zoning ordinance, section 5.06B. The neighborhood node section A category is meant to accommodate the most ambitious redevelopment within the nodes, as they typically have prime locations and the size allow for the most creative solutions for the mixed use. So really we feel that the opportunity to provide Rainbow Connections with this second floor office space in conjunction with our car wash use really exemplifies a creative solution to achieve the mixed use goal of the neighborhood node district. Another item, neighborhood node specific, that we found is the neighborhood node also looks to be visually distinguished from the surrounding area because of the greater intensity, density, and design. Design techniques such as variation in building height shall be encouraged. Jason is going to discuss about the architecture in detail, but just this view from Long Lake really exemplifies this variation in building height. As you see over on DeQuinder, we start out a little bit lower with that screened exit to the tunnel, and then you step up your building with that taller tower at the corner and then kind of work your way down. We think the creative architecture places the building at the frontage, places all the circulation in the rear, and architecturally encloses the tunnel exit. With that, we feel like it highlights this large pedestrian plaza area at the hard corner and green belt along Long Lake. Walkability is another item that we look to. While the car wash itself is not inherently a pedestrian servicing business, we think that the office space does add a fair bit of walkability to the area here. So the idea is the second-story office place. The employees of that office will be able to utilize this plaza. Also, the employees of El Car Wash will also be able to utilize this plaza. This plaza will have benches, flagpole, bike repair station, welcome to Troy sculpture, decorative plantings, and really think it'll be an enjoyable area for people to sit and eat their lunch. The plaza will create an enhanced pedestrian scale corner that promotes a walkable feel as you're entering the city of Troy. As I mentioned, the employees will be able to not only utilize the plaza, but also services the business further east along in the Kroger Shopping Center, and then some of the restaurants to the north and the west, and then further south, the gas stations for your gas station type of snack. A few other items I just want to touch on, in a little bit more high level. We have this ground story activation, we have this outdoor seating, this architectural art feature, the Troy sign that we've included there. Significant green belts and planting. Again, just want to highlight the 33% green space across the site, the significant landscaping buffer to the north, to the west, to kind of help buffer our neighbors. Parking is either fully enclosed or it's pushed to the north and separated as far as possible from DeQuinder. And then we feel this maintains the goals of the intensity continuation by placing the higher intensity uses within these nodes at these Mile Road intersections. So this is as far south as we could get this car wash. And then general idea of the node is that decreases in intensity as you get to the residents to the north and to the west. We think that this type of development maximizes the opportunity for that type of buffer by placing that building up along the road, but still providing that fairly substantial pedestrian plaza. And then finally, we're providing a service to the adjacent neighborhood, not only through the car wash, but also with the amazing work that Rainbow Connections has been doing within the community. With that, we believe the development, as designed, with the prominent pedestrian plaza, will set a benchmark for future developments within the neighborhood node district. We also think it's setting a really high bar for how this corner of the city is going to be developed into the future, and we're really happy with how it turned out. So, with that, I will turn it over to Jason Krieger with Krieger-Klett Architects to talk about the architectural features of the building. Thank you.
Thank you.
Good evening, Jason Krieger with Krieger-Klett Architects, 400 East Lincoln, Royal Oak, Michigan, Suite A. Everyone's already told you about the project. I don't know what you guys do with, but let's go through some of the architectural slides. So as mentioned, right now we're proposing this beautiful pocket park on the southeast corner that have some public art, seating, benches, basically a place to congregate. The main entrance for Rainbow Connection, who we're very, very proud of and excited for, would be within this, I'm pointing over here, I know you guys have to look around. That would be the primary entrance off of Long Lake. And one thing that Gabe just mentioned, which I think is a great idea, would be to add more glass there so it feels like a storefront for them to come and go, although they do park in the covered area to the north. You already saw these renderings. The only thing that I could really feel like I should point out is you already know the circulation, looping around the site. The one thing that we like here is this screen wall that's on the southeast corner. Right here, it looks like a wall, right? But if you're driving by, it's gonna feel like the building. And with that, we're adding the green walls, so you're gonna have metal fencing, like the actual like metal grates going up with actual Boston ivy growing up it. So it'll be very pretty. You'll have green wall, all the way around, so it's broken up. That's one of the things that we're adhering to in the ordinance in order to help manage the transparency, or comply with it, I should say. And then you can see the primary corner right there. It does a few things. Number one, to me, it opens up the view corridor, or your triangular view as you're turning right, so it's safer. But number two, it gives you a nice pocket park or a node for people to congregate. You already saw this view too. So this right here is an aerial view. It's a little more color coded. To me, this is an easier view to see how everything kind of works together. Meaning that here's your covered area, which you saw before it was colored, I think it was yellow on the slides. You see how you circulate around. And this purple area in the middle, that's the building itself. So you have the tunnel that's on the south side. And then behind that, you have the equipment. And then right in here is where Rainbow Connection would park. They could walk in, access the elevators right there. So that's their lobby, if you will. They can go straight out to the Quinder through here. Or from the second floor, this would be their other lobby. So this whole thing right here will activate and act as a plaza for them, coming and going. Here's a floor plan a little more detailed. You can just sort of see this here would be the parking, hallway, lobby on the ground floor, entrance off to the east. Here's the tunnel right here. And then it's screened completely here. So you will not know where the door is as you leave. Second floor, we have a proposed rendering of the Rainbow Connections upper floors that we'll have right before we kind of wrap up at least my portion. But right now it's a fairly open concept for them. That's what they want. They want to be able to be flexible, and I'm sure they could speak way more to that than I can right now. Everything's still kind of in flux, but you would have an egress stairwell, an elevator, so there's a little lobby for them. And here's their other means of egress out. That would be a ground floor lobby. And then this is all flexible, open workspace for them. And they can take it and use it as they see fit. And we have our 2D elevations, not as fancy as our renderings. But what I think the major thing here is that we have way more brick on the facades now. The EIFS or synthetic stucco is really just in this area here and then along here. So it's really just in these areas here and along the top. Other than that, it's all metal panels, and then brick, which you can see below me right there. So really the main features on this facade, it's brick, metal, and glass. So it's high quality, durable, timeless materials that the owners will not have to worry about maintenance on for years to come. So this is the elevation that faces Long Lake, and the renderings do more justice. But what I want to point out here is that we do have a lot of varying heights. We have pilasters, so there's a lot of depth. There's a lot of movement going on, so it's not a flat facade when you drive by. That was all done to comply with the transparency requirements. And then you can see off to the side here, we have the green screens that will be there. So it'll be a really nice thing on the corner. So right now we have a few renderings. I think you already saw this one. So this shows the building, heavily landscaped. It's going to be very, very pretty when it's finished. You saw this right here, a lot of variations, landscape, softens it up, and then boom, it opens up at the corner. So that's like a really key thing. It's a welcoming thing. It's a hallmark on that corner. And hopefully it's something that's an inspiration for future projects in the city. So this is a view looking northeast. This looks southwest. So a lot of glass, pretty impressive. Curtain wall, enclosed, but a lot of daylight in there. So folks don't feel like they're in a building per se. It's just all going to be glass all around them. And then you can see right there, this is where the cars kind of sneak out. But that's really going to be a facade right there. And then here you go. So green screen, there's an opening here for folks to walk out. Some glass. So we're mixing in the green screen around here to break up the facade. Whoops, sorry about that. And then this is a updated concept for the Rainbow Connection. Very hip, cool, very flexible space for them. And that's going to be their space, really, with a lot of glass, light. I mean, they can use it as they see fit. So, yeah, I think those are the major items that I want to touch on. So we'll go to the next one here.
Thank you. Thanks, Jason. Thanks, Mitch. I'd like to invite Rainbow Connection up. So Ingrid, if you can come up, that'd be great. Ingrid's the CEO of Rainbow Connection, so I'll turn it over to you.
Thank you. I signed my name, but the paper's gone.
Oh.
Gabe, you're not supposed to break the rules here. Sorry, I was trying to real quick. I almost wrote Gabe. I am Ingrid Todd, the Executive Director of the Rainbow Connection. So thank you all, and thank you to the Wish families behind me, board and staff that came here today, because this project, we're pretty passionate about it. I mean, it's kind of a win-win for us. So, I mean, we're so excited. It almost felt too good to be true in the beginning, but my attorney's here, and he can agree that he went over everything already. Since 1985, we've been granting wishes to Michigan children with life-threatening illnesses, and we were founded in Oakland County. And we love to stay in Oakland County. We don't want to go anywhere else. To date, we have granted over 4,500 wishes to children in Michigan, and we want to grow. Personally, I started at Rainbow 26 years ago. I started as an intern. We were in the lower 800s in wishes. We've grown tremendously. Unfortunately, we're at a stop. We're at a stop because we don't have any more space. We currently do have a building in Rochester. We are maxed out. More than that, we love to spend our money on wishes. We don't want to spend money on a building. We don't even want to touch the building we have and expand, because currently 86 cents of every dollar we bring in from donors and people in our community and through the state go directly towards wishes. And we are very adamant we want to stay that way. The new exciting space at El Car Wash, potentially, that we could have, can accomplish so many things. We want to expand our team. We expand our team, we can grant more wishes, we can meet more children in the community. We can hold board meetings. Currently, I'm, free spaces all over the place trying to get our board members to come together. You know how that is. This would be beautiful and amazing, and it's centrally located and perfect. More importantly, we can have our Wish families come meet us there. We love that they want to come to this community and they want to see where the wishes are being granted, and we can have that space. The renderings are phenomenal to us. As a nonprofit, again, we want to spend all of our money on wishes. This incredible new partnership would allow us to grow. At the Rainbow Connection, we like to say it's more than a wish, and we're very, very passionate about that. But in order to continue that mission and to grow and to be able to provide all the extra services we do for the families, because it is more than a wish, we need to find ways to grow, and we would love to do that in Troy with El Car Wash. We've seen the plans a lot the last 2 years, and the renderings and all the logistics. They've been very transparent with us. They've asked us what our needs are, what our requests are. They've worked very diligently to make sure that every piece is in place for us. Lastly, I just think it's a really, really incredible concept, the mixed space, and to be giving part of it to a nonprofit. It's such a special model that we can share with others now. I work with a tremendous amount of other nonprofits, and this is unheard of. So we're really happy to be on the front lines, and we really appreciate you guys. This is Abby. She's our Wish Mom. A Wish Mom, among others here.
Hi, my name's Abby Ahey, and I am the mother of a Wish child. My son Harrison had cancer when he was 2 years old, and one day when we were unfortunately at the hospital for a long chemotherapy day, we were approached by Rainbow Connection, and the lonely journey felt a lot less lonely, knowing that you have someone like that on your side and in your corner when you're going through such a difficult thing. And I think when I talked to Ingrid about it and I heard about it and I watched the little segment from the news, I was so excited for the Rainbow Connection, because I think what they encompass as the community they provide for all of us families is something that Troy really could embrace very well. And I had the privilege of living in Troy while I was in college. I worked in Troy for 5 or 6 years when I started my professional career. I think that the hand-in-hand partnership would just be fantastic. I think Rainbow Connection does so many wonderful things for the families, not even just when my son was going through treatment, but even, a few years out now. We're about 2 years out from treatment, but we still have a lot of hospital visits, and we still have a lot of scans, and we still have a lot of, different things that we go to, and they're still there for us. They're still there for us. It's not just, you go on your Wish trip and that's one thing, and you're done. They're a resource for us for so many things. They help us out, when we have struggling time during Christmas, they're there for us to help. We have people that, give things like that, and I have been forever grateful for them. We wouldn't have been able to do the journey of what my family has been through without someone like them. So I was more than happy to speak on their behalf. They are an incredible, incredible organization. And in the few times we have been able to visit them at the house, because my son loves the house, I say, because the current office space, it's very difficult. He loves to visit. He likes to go visit, Ingrid and his buddy Kristen over there. And it's hard. It's condensed. It's very difficult to go up and down the stairs for him, and it's difficult for, all those. Having the opportunity to be able to go into a new office space where there is the freedom to be able to meet and talk and sit and listen, I think that's going to be an incredible opportunity for all of the families that the Rainbow Connection serves. So thank you for allowing me the opportunity to speak and tell you a little bit about my family and what Rainbow Connection means to me, but to the community of all of us, parents and families as a whole, too. Thank you.
Thank you, Abby, for sharing that personal story. We appreciate that. At this time, I guess I'll ask the planning commissioners if we have any questions of the applicant. We had a lot of people come up and speak, the architect and all sorts. So, yeah, I'll start with Mr. Faison.
Yeah, I just had a question on the relationship between Rainbow Connection and El Car Wash. It's called a partnership. I'm just trying to understand what it really is.
Yeah, it's twofold. So number one, the office space is for free that they can use in perpetuity. So that's number one. Secondarily, we've made a financial commitment to Rainbow Connection as well to advance, the great things that they're doing in the community. So it's a dual combination of things that we're doing for the Rainbow Connection.
So again, you're saying they can use the space in perpetuity. It's essentially their space.
It's their space. It's a leased space, their space, but the dollar amount is zero for them to use it.
Can I ask one follow-up question?
Of course.
And El Car Wash is a chain, right?
Correct. So we have currently about 100 locations nationwide, all corporate stores. It's not a franchise. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
No, but and the follow-up question is this a unique model where you have a two-story car wash and a partner above the car wash?
Great, yeah. So the two-story model started for us at our headquarters in Doral, Florida. We wanted to build our busiest car wash in the country is our headquarters in Doral, Florida. And we built our corporate headquarters above it. And then as we were, starting to work here in the city of Troy, and Brent pushed me to fit within the neighborhood node and meet the definition of it, we said, we did this in Doral, why can't we do this here? And we're trying to figure out how can we best utilize the space? What's going to be the best community benefit? I'd worked with Ingrid. We started working together 10 years ago. And I'm thinking about Liam Fairbanks right now getting torn up. So Liam was a young man that I met through Ingrid. I became really close with him and his mom, Heather, and his brother Walker. So it just hit me just now. Sorry. So it started for us in Doral, and the opportunity came up here in Troy, and I reached out to Ingrid and said, hey, I got an idea, what do you think? And that's how it started. It was pretty organic.
Thank you.
Sure.
Mr. Fox.
I just have two questions about circulation. I wanted to confirm, because it was inconsistent across the different drawings, is the intention that someone going north onto Quinder would be able to turn left into the turn in the curb cut that you have there?
Is it a right-in? It's a right-in.
It's a right-in right now, okay.
Yeah, correct.
And then my second question is, with the covered portion with the vacuums,
Yes.
how does one get in and out? Because in some of the drawings, it's a two-way lane next to the stacking lanes. In some of the drawings, like the one you've got up on it's just a one lane that's just out. And so the way that I'm seeing that drawing that you've got on the board there, you have to go through the car wash to then go around and get to the vacuum. And I just wanted to confirm if that was the intention or if that's just between renderings.
So this is the correct.
I think the rendering misled us a little bit.
Okay.
That's the accurate
So that's
site
the
plan.
intended, go in and around, okay.
Because I got a little freaked out now when I was looking at that rendering also.
Okay.
So
Thank you for the clarification.
Yeah, no problems.
Mr. Biegner.
You guys feel good about parking?
Yeah, I mean,
You have enough parking spots?
Yeah, I think as long as from a car wash perspective, we feel good about it.
Obviously, we got to take care of the second story too, right?
Yeah, so as long as Ingrid feels good about it, yeah.
Okay. My other question, will you talk a little bit about transparency has been out there? Can you talk a little about, especially Long Lake? Is there a reason why you can't add more glass?
I think we can. I think that's a missed opportunity on our parts, so go ahead.
The answer is yes. So we could add more glass at the ground floor entrance for Rainbow Connection. And we could even look at adding a little bit more glass up top too. So I think we can help to alleviate that.
And it's my understanding that we're not going to give them any direction on that as I'm looking at our attorney, but they can come up with ideas of what they would propose. Is that fair?
You could impose conditions as a special land use. If that was a condition, that would be something the planning commission could consider.
I'm not in a place where I want to try to tell you how to set up
Yeah.
windows, but I'd be curious what's your thoughts as the architect of what you would do.
So we can definitely look at adding glass. My recommendation would be that we deal with staff on that to make that, if we wanted to add more glass. Is that fair?
Yeah, I mean, I think whatever you think high level, you think we can do right now, we can just share those details.
Yeah, well, we just did it. So on the ground floor, we can have more.
You want to pull the rendering up?
Sure.
I don't know.
There you go. So, here you go, Sam. So, and again, we want to design it in committee, I get that. But what we would look at doing is adding glass here at the entrance, the ground floor entrance for Rainbow Connection. And then we would look at bringing these windows down as well. That might alleviate, I have no idea what the square footage is offhand. That might take care of that completely, but at least get us a lot closer. And we'd love to work with staff on that.
I did do the calculations to figure out what their deficiency is. So for the Long Lake elevation, they were required to provide 50%. They're providing 38%, so they're deficient 12% right now. And then the DeQuinder side, they're providing 48.2% of the required 50%, so they need a deviation of what, 1.8%?
I don't know where we would pick it up there.
The DeQuinder side's probably harder, but I
Yeah.
think we could commit to the 50% on Long Lake.
Yeah, I think that would fix it. Just eyeballing it. Yeah.
Yes, Mr. Tagle.
Tell me about the glass that you've got on your north elevation. Is it a reflective glass? Is it what are you planning to do on that side facing the?
You know, I don't know what the spec is on that. Do you, Ryan? Yeah, I don't know what the spec is on it, to be honest with you.
Is the intent to actually see in?
Yeah, well, yeah, no, it's not like mirror glass. No, you can see in. Yes, correct, yeah. But I was thinking like low E and.
Oh, right.
Film
No,
on
but
it or
I
whatever,
was
yeah.
thinking more, I mean, the renderings aren't quite clear if it's more of a reflective glass or a mirrored glass versus more transparent.
It's more transparent. Yeah, it's not like a mirror.
Right.
Yeah, right.
Mr. Kern.
Getting in that same building where the vacuums are?
Yes.
What is the decibel rating for if all vacuums were on?
You guys, I think you have that.
So the decibel rating at the property line is definitely less than 65 within the, for the entire property. Within the vac area itself, we enclose, even though the vac area is enclosed, we still enclose the producers as well. But the decibel level inside is, at the property line, it's less than 65. It's probably been less than 60. Within the building itself, it's probably 65 to 70 would be my guess, within that vac area.
Ms. Malala Holly.
What's considered as, no, I'm not a science person, so when you say decibels, I have no clue. So what are we talking about in terms of 65 or 70 in this enclosed space?
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great.
So just to kind of set, bear with me. Just to kind of give you a sense of, what a typical commercial site is going to look like from a decibel standpoint. We went out and did readings across the site yesterday at about 6 p.m. And these were the readings on site, cars driving by, that we were reading. So the lowest decibel reading is 56 and the highest is 80. So think about it, if you were standing out on site, about how loud it would be. We're on the lower end of a typical commercial site along a major road. Really, long story short, the loudest thing on site is going to be a car or a truck with a loud muffler going on Long Lake or DeQuinder.
And the one thing we can do if there's a concern about noise, we just did working on another project right now. The loudest parts of the car washes are the blowers coming out at the exit. And we just put in these like noiseless blowers. I can send the spec over that it reduces the decibel level a dramatic amount. So it'll definitely we won't create a worse situation than what's currently at the corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder. So we can commit to those noiseless blowers. That's usually the largest producer. So if you go to like any of our locations, say like, what's noisy? It would be the blowers. That make them noiseless, that usually eliminates any, noise issues, is what we found.
May I ask a couple?
Yes, of course.
So I did see the welcome to Troy sign. Is that something that has been through our code enforcement department or whoever does that kind of thing? Because, yeah, the signage looks great, but I don't know whether that's the approved signage for the city of Troy, being at the gateway of the city of Troy. So I wanted to know on that as well. And my second question is there a deceleration on Long Lake to get people into your car wash? Did I see one?
There's no deceleration. There is no deceleration lane.
So here's my thing. With Long Lake, and I'm not sure how much of traveling you have done on Long Lake, boy, it is. People go very, very fast. And I'll be very honest and truthful here. I was one of the no votes on Long Lake and Livernois Jack's Car Wash. I was a no vote because I know the speed at which people travel on that Long Lake Road, and there is no deceleration lane. It is still a problem, and one of the things that I would like to highlight here to all is one of those days when the spring weather was hitting, there were a lot of cars, and the traffic was not exactly stalled, but the traffic definitely slowed at the entrance to Long Lake and Livernois, because right there is Jack's Car Wash. My concern about car washes are many-fold, but the two that stands to me is one, without a deceleration lane on days that you will have a lot of traffic, say 50 cars are coming through to your location, we will have a slowdown at those intersections. Two, I know you are pitching this project as a mixed use, which I get it, and your cause is totally agreeable with me, undeniably, okay, agreeable with me. However, what kind of legality are you going to be putting into your thing when, say, 15 years down the road, 20 years down the road, this is not a profitable business for you? And then El Car Wash decides to either sell the business to somebody else, because it's not a profitable venture, okay? I'm just hypothetically considering this scenario. What happens to the Rainbow folks who are sitting at in the first floor then? How is all that going to be worked out? And I know I threw a lot of questions at you, but slice and dice it as you will.
I appreciate it. I think answering the first question regarding the deceleration lane, if Road Commission of Oakland County allows it, we're happy to put it in. So I think, Mitch, correct me if I'm wrong, that would be a question to Oakland County Road Commission?
Yeah, so our COC has already seen these plans and approved them as presented. As long as they're open to it, we have the room to provide that deceleration lane. I can't speak for our COC because it is their road, so as long as they're open to it, I can't imagine you would have an issue with it. So I think it's a good comment. And then I'll let you handle it.
Yeah, so we're happy to make that a condition if you choose to support an approval. We'd be happy to make that a condition of the approval. How that's drafted, I guess I defer to the Planning Commission.
Totally, yeah.
With respect to the lease agreement itself, the lease agreement, as long as Rainbow Connections as a thriving organization, they're gonna have a space here. Even if the car wash shuts down tomorrow morning, hopefully it doesn't, they're gonna have a place here. Howard Goldman with Plunkett Cooney, I've negotiated a lot of leases against him. He's not an easy guy. He actually beat the crap out of me in a few lease negotiations, but he's a good man. And the lease speaks to that, exactly that they have a space in perpetuity as long as they want that.
Can you speak towards the Troy sign, please? I know I threw a lot at you.
I can speak to that.
Brent.
So as the Planning Commission knows, Planning Commission does not approve signs, but what we would be reviewing this evening is the concept of a gateway sign here. Just like any other site plan application, we're really not going to take formal action on it until it's received special use approval and preliminary site plan approval. At that time, we would approach city management. We would talk to our sign reviewer and have those conversations to ensure that this would happen.
Okay, thank you. Thank you both for your
Thank you.
answers.
Mr. Buechner.
Mariana, it's 10% of the space. So if this is the building, 10% of it, am I correct? Needs to be signage, can't be more than 10% signage. That doesn't look like more than 10% to me.
So without getting the nuances, that's for a wall sign, this is a ground sign, the standards are different.
Gotcha.
I don't have them memorized, and, you know, is it possible that it could be permitted to be 6 square feet larger? Yes, or 6 square feet smaller? We'll get into the details. If they get approved, that, again, they approve the concept of this, and then we'll have more finite conversations with the applicant at that time.
Mr. Lambert?
Yeah, a couple of quick questions. Number one, your two immediate neighbors, the medical or dental office to your north and then the Arby's to the west, have you had any conversations with them? Have they given you input on your plans?
I think we sent out letters. I don't think we've had any conversations with them recently. We haven't heard any feedback from them.
Okay. And the second is, we've received one email from a resident who's obviously seen some of your other car washes and expressed concerns about the colors. I won't use the terms they used, but it looks like you've kind of, I will use it, Troyized your building colors to kind of tone them down a little bit. Is that correct?
Yeah, I think one of the when back in November 24, I think one of the concerns was a lot of EFS. I think that was one of the, main conversations we had. So we moved to more masonry, more glass. So, I think you described it better than I did. So yes.
Mr. Tagle?
I'm not sure who to ask this question to, but it's about the vehicular circulation within the enclosed area. Because it's showing a two-way drive inside the building, but the exit on the east end to drive out is showing a one-way drive. And so I'm just curious, what is the circulation pattern for the vehicles as they're coming and leaving that enclosed area?
Yeah, so this is two-way. The main idea is if you've got your car wash, you can come in here. This here would have a sign on this side that says no right turn, so you could leave this way, or you could go back and go this way.
We can pull up that engineering site.
And yeah, I ran into that arrow and realized that we got to be looking at this one. So this provides it clear. You have two-way entrance here, come in, back, and then you can leave this way, or if you back out and go this way, you can leave that way. And this is how most people would circulate in after they have their car cleaned into there.
Okay, so when you're exiting to the east out of the enclosed area, left turn only?
Left turn only, yes.
And just from a stacking standpoint, not so much where you're in the queue to get into the car wash, but the drive lane to the north side where you've got people backing out from the vacuum components. You've got people coming into the car wash, whether they're going to the car wash or going into the parking spaces or the internal vacuum. And then you've got people potentially exiting along the north as well, heading in an easterly direction. Have you guys looked at that? I mean, it just seems like there's a lot of traffic going on here and going in different directions. And if you've been to some of, and I'm sure you're car wash guys.
Right, we are.
You get a nice day after a crappy weather day, you're going to have a lot of traffic in there.
Yeah, I think from the vacuum perspective, generally, 10-15% of washers, use the vacs. So I haven't found a situation in our existing where all the vacs are, our vacs are being, taking place. I think one room for opportunity, if there was just that concern of it, I think where you have the, I'm gonna try to use this pointer, hopefully I don't blind anybody, be careful, guys. Where am I pointing at?
You're above.
I'm above?
Yeah, drop it down. There you go.
Oh my God. So you got this, this egress point out here and this egress point out here. I think the pinch points are probably like these vacs over here and these vacs over here. It's probably where the highest risk is. I think, my belief. So if there was a concern about too much going on here, I would just recommend maybe just making them more normal parking and eliminating the vacs. Maybe it makes it look a little bit less congested in this area. And this just gives us some backup vacs if we ever get, filled up in here. That'd be my
The other question I have for you too, if I'm driving in, I don't know if there's any open vacuum on the inside. And, I'm driving in and these are vacuums. Do you have any kind of signage or?
Yeah, we have signage there, if there's no vacs, we put a sign, no vacs. So it kind of lights up and says no vacs available.
Have you ever been to the Costco's now where they've got the little green or red?
Yeah,
So
it's
you know.
yeah, it's the exact same thing conceptually.
Okay.
yeah. Idea-wise, it's the exact same thing. But if there was a concern about that backup, because I understand that, I would just propose to eliminate some of those from just VACs into just normal parking spaces, so we'd have, additional parking if necessary. So I think we currently are showing 12. I don't think we'd have any issues cutting that down to 6, and working with staff to decide where that's the safest to put them at.
All right. I have a question for Mr. Carlisle, Mr. Savedant. Our ordinance requires interior parking lot trees, and it's for parking spaces. Now, I assume we've not considered the vacuum spaces on the outside of the building as parking spaces. Thus, we don't have any interior parking lot landscaping other than what's around the perimeter of the site, which there have been times where we've questioned that, whether that really is part of the intent of the ordinance. Can you just share how you guys looked at that? And
I would say that the main reason for requiring parking lot island trees is to reduce the heat island effect, which is due to the proliferation of asphalt on a sunny day. So the fact that, excuse me, the fact that this is covered parking, I don't think we really contemplated the roof overhead.
I'm talking about the outside, not the parking inside. Obviously, the parking inside is, I'm not.
We had a similar conversation related to that pre-meeting, but go ahead. I interrupted you there.
Well, the point is, I think it's every 8 cars, we need to interrupt the parking. Parking or the vacuum spots on the north side of the building that are outside of the building envelope, you looked at those as non-parking because there's nothing there. Now we're talking about maybe adding some parking. So maybe instead of just vacuum, we'd have maybe break it up with an island of trees or not.
So that's certainly the direction the planning commission could make a condition of approval on, is to doing that. I will note that, I don't have the thing. Can I get the laser pointer real quickly? There's a large landscape island right here in between the access point and the drive-through. There's 4 trees located in that, and that was, I think, we measured that in part to offset the required parking that's located. That was supposed to be here. So in terms of number of trees, they exceed the requirement by having the 4. The location is a little bit different than where we normally put them. But certainly if you'd like them to move 2 of these trees into this space, if they remove a vacuum space, that certainly could be a condition of approval. But we do note there are 4 trees located in that location that offset the parking lot requirements.
I was looking more for how you guys interpreted the fact that there's not any interior parking lot landscaping.
That's how I read it, and that's how I applied it, is I took what would be required here.
Right.
And I moved it, and they put them in the parking lot, but just a different location. It's still in the parking lot, technically. And so we count those 4 trees as towards the parking lot landscaping requirements. I will note that overall, they do exceed the number of landscape requirements in terms of volume of trees, et
I think they've done a
cetera.
great job. I was more looking for how we looked at it as a city.
That's how I interpreted and applied it.
Okay, thank you.
And while we're talking about the parking, let me ask, what is the requirement for car washes in terms of number of parking spots for employees? And then for an office space, I know they talked about 7 being sufficient, but what does our ordinance require, and did they meet that?
I believe it's 1 per 300, and that equals 7 spaces required for the office use.
So what about the employees of the car wash?
1 space per employee, so that's 4 spaces, and we would just have them use one of the 12 spaces to the north, dual-purpose spaces.
I think from the safety perspective you brought up, to answer that, I think limiting some of those VACs, I think we can have the employees park there also, right? They're getting there in the morning, leaving at night, or whatever the shifts are. They're not coming in and out. That eliminates a lot of that safety risk concern. So I think that's an opportunity for this plan to get better.
So in other words, instead of having them park at a vacuum spot, it would be like employee parking?
Exactly, and we can just talk about it tonight, or we can work with staff to decide, which of these 6 of the 12 become normal parking spaces. We'd be open. It doesn't matter to us.
Yeah, go ahead.
So the applicant's correct in terms of the number of required spaces. How we treat it is, because vacuum spaces are not a requirement of a car wash, we just treated those as extra parking spaces for the use. And so they, instead of requiring them to put 4 dedicated employee spaces and add more impervious surface to the site, we just simply treated those excess vacuum spaces as potential employee parking spaces, so we didn't require additional parking on the site than what they already showed.
I see, okay. While you have the slide up, if someone's entering off of Long Lake and heading north and wanting to enter, let's say it's an employee of the Discovery, or Rainbow Connection, sorry, and they want to come in and they're hooking that right, but the cars are all stacked up and they're stacked from this side and they're stacked from this side, how is that person supposed to get in?
So we have, 3 to 4 on-site people. So we have 21 stacking spaces from the entry point that I think you're referring to. On the rare day that, you get more than 21, and with this tunnel, we can process 110, 120 cars an hour. We won't have that, we wish we had that volume. We won't have that kind of volume. It would be a very rare situation where that would happen, where we'd be stacking in every which direction. To your point, you have those warm March days, and that can happen, and we saw that, throughout February and March, where you have those days, but generally it doesn't. But if it does, we have our team on site, making sure to, move traffic around to make sure that everybody can access, the spaces. So it can happen. I think generally it won't, but that's when the operations team on site has to, make it work.
But there'd be no way to get around the line for the car wash to enter.
Yeah, so what we do is, if that's the case, we'd have our operations team, we'd have one person standing. I'm gonna try to do this again. Sorry. Because we spoke about that leading up to this meeting today, what happens on that, on that February day. There we go. So we'd have an operations person standing here, making sure people aren't queuing over here. And then we have an operations person here, making sure that this, stays open, this stays open, and obviously people, exiting. So we need to make sure that people can get on and off site. We actually did a study of how many cars could we have if that happened. We could have we can have 50 cars on site waiting to come into the wash if that takes place. So there's potential to stack up to 50 cars here if necessary. That would be the most stacking we have in any of our sites in Metro Detroit. The most stacking we have right now is 30, 35, and we haven't stacked into the road in that situation. So I think we'll have a good game plan in place to make sure that Rainbow Connection can utilize their space.
Okay.
And if I may just add, that northern drive aisle is actually 3 feet wider than the ordinance calls for. So there's a little bit more room there to make that maneuver. I think that was a comment that we got back in 2024, so that's why we made it
You
that
mean the
3 feet.
U-turn,
Yeah,
like the
that was-
180-degree U-turn?
That was
Yeah.
one of the changes from the original plan, was one of the things that was brought up, which was very accurate, was to soften this turn right here, to make it easier to come into the stacking, and we softened that up, and we had made that change.
What about the door leading into the Rainbow Connection on Long Lake? It's just this tiny little, you kicked it out to make it sort of like a vestibule, but then there's just like this little, there's not a primary entrance. It doesn't scream primary entrance. And in the neighborhood note, as you know, that's one of the requirements. Is there a reason why you didn't make the entrance a little bit more like a primary entrance?
Yeah, I think that was a miss. I think if Jason, could speak to that, I think the opportunity by making that all, we'll hit the transparency standards by redoing that elevation.
Yeah, exactly. That's what we mentioned earlier about getting more glass on that facade. So that will feel more like an actual main entrance. More glass, maybe a canopy, so it'll achieve what you're just saying.
Okay, I think that's all of our questions for now. It is a public hearing, so we'll go ahead and open it up to the public. Oh, Mr. Buechner?
I'd love to move on as well. Would it be appropriate for us to ask, because there's a lot of people in the room, to raise their hand if they're in favor and/or raise their hand if they're not in favor of this happening?
Well, it's a public hearing, so they're all allowed.
We're going to hear
come.
everybody, but I'm just curious, do we want to have, with a lot of people here, do we want to know that we have this many hands and this many other hands? Is that worth doing or not?
I don't know. Sure.
Sure, you get to run it. I'm just asking if that would be appropriate. You're allowed to say no.
I mean, I think we'll just let the people come up and speak at the public hearing. We'll get a feel for it.
Okay.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and open it up. When you come up, please sign in your name and introduce yourself, and then you'll have 3 minutes. The lights will indicate when you have, I think, 30 seconds left. It'll turn yellow and then red. So is anyone here to speak in favor of or in opposition of this application?
All right, very good. Good evening, members of the board. Carl Woodard, 5-year resident of Spring Meadows Drive, about a half mile west of this site, just north of Long Lake. I wanted to make some comments about the traffic engineering safety aspects. I hope I don't step on the traffic safety engineers' toes for not having done a study. I received some data from the National Transportation Safety Organization, formerly TIA of Michigan, offices in beautiful downtown Troy. They reported the 3-year crash data for 2023 through 2025. Over that period of time, there were 85 crashes at the intersection of DeQuinder and Long Lake Road. That is combined data from the city of Troy and the city of Sterling Heights. Of those 85 crashes, 85% were non-injury, 15% were injury. The nature of the crashes, rear end, 48%. Angle, probably turning maneuvers in the intersection, 19%. Side swipe, lane change types of things, another 19%. What are some of the hazardous actions of those 85 crashes? Unable to stop and ensure clear distance, there's your rear end crashes, 20%. Fail to yield, some of your signal sequences, another 20%. Traffic control device, 4%, and 2% improper lane usage. So some of the things that are going on in the intersection where this site is occurring. Maybe a medium risk intersection, not horribly dangerous, but no walk in the park either. Those contributing neighbors to this intersection, providing congestion or not to the overall flow of traffic going straight, turning, and so forth, are 2 gas stations, 1 bank, and as mentioned, JJ's Bistro, which will be vacated and obviously go away with this development. JJ's Bistro is a fine facility, but it probably is not anywhere near the projected contribution of 50 vehicles per hour into this intersection. This intersection is going to become more congested than it is currently with JJ's. Sterling Heights, our neighbor to the east, just denied a car wash at within the last year at Square Lake in DeQuinder, 19 Mile in DeQuinder, because it wasn't the nature of the neighborhood. I don't know that their neighborhood is that much different than ours, but something to keep in mind. L Car Washes, 14 in Campbell at Madison Heights, 16 in DeQuinder, 2 miles away from this site, L Car Wash. I'm not sure why we have to have an L Car Wash every 2 miles. I think that concludes my comments. Thank you much.
Thank you very much. Perfectly timed.
Good evening. I am a resident of 5157 Julian in Spring Meadows subdivision as well. I'm a walker and bike rider, and I can tell you that the traffic as it is right now is dangerous, just in terms of car traffic. What kind of concerns me are all the kids riding scooters and riding electric bikes going by. They have no sense of the rules of the road on a sidewalk. And I am just really worried at the amount of traffic that's going in and out of the car wash. I'd love to have Rainbow Connection as a neighbor. I think that would just be an awesome thing. But I think the incentive that comes along with the car wash is not going to make that happen. I don't think it speaks to the flavor of the neighborhood at all. The design aesthetic is just something that doesn't seem to me to fit into such a heavily residential neighborhood. And I would really like to not see this happen. I'm concerned very much about just not my own safety. I've just in the past week, riding my bike, in one trip over to the Troy Trail, had 3 cars pull right out almost in front of me as my bike is starting to cross the road. And I'm thinking, that's me as an adult being very careful and concerned about my own self-preservation. And it really concerns me about the kids that I see out in the neighborhood. So thank you.
Thank you.
I'd like to address the Planning Commission, and my name is Jerome Conchel. I've lived 35 years in the neighborhood, Spring Meadow subdivision, so I've seen it from when it was farmland up to now, and I really don't think that this car wash is meant to be in that location. It's great that they're providing these office spaces for the nonprofits, but I think the real issue is whether that belongs in the neighborhood, the car wash itself. I ride my bike and walk along Long Lake into Quinder, and it would be a nightmare walking by where the cars are going in and out of the car wash. The people aren't going to be paying attention. It's not going to be very safe. I'm concerned about the deceleration of the traffic approaching it. The plan right now, I can see that being a very unsafe condition with the traffic flow. I'm hoping this doesn't go forward. I don't like having the signage for Troy, the welcoming of Troy, being tied in with a car wash. I just don't think it belongs in that spot. Thank you.
Thank you.
Probably for the last 5 years. So I kind of know the players here, and I also use Long Lake Road as one of my main thoroughfares east-west. So let me address the issues probably in that order. Rainbow Connection is a terrific organization. They are very focused on their mission. Charity Navigator requires, in order to get their 4-star designation, that you spend at least 85% on your mission, which is what they do, which is why things like contribution of office space is important to us. I can speak to the integrity of Gabe and the developers as someone who's dealt with them, and I can tell you they're stand-up people. They are not going to just put this up, flip it, and be out of the community. The concern here is to develop something, make it profitable, be a part of the community, and, you know, you've seen the schematics. To me, it's not just a slapdash car wash. There's some thought and some beauty put into the aesthetics here as well. Finally, as I said, I use Long Lake going east and west, and people say, well, gee, there's a problem with my bike and riding around Long Lake, et cetera, and safety. I agree with that. I'm a bike rider. I've been hit by cars twice, and that's riding on paths and crossing roads. So it's not just, are you on Long Lake or where you are, it's people paying attention, it's speed, and it's drivers. You have to ride defensively and drive defensively. So, you know, is there the need for it? The determination by the developers, yes. And I saw the picture of all the car washes kind of grouped in one place and this somewhere else. So I would say odds are there is a need for it, and the business would be something that would do well in the community. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Demo Reyes, clearly from a family of the Rainbow Connection. I wasn't planning on speaking today, but I just felt called to with the discussion that's been happening. I don't have a tie to a car wash, but I do get my car washed, so that's my tie, I guess. Rainbow Connection has been such an incredible addition to our family. We have not only one, but two children affected by blood disorder, and they have been with us every step of the way. One of our children has already had their wish, the other has not yet, as he'll be 3 soon. I just wanted to talk a little bit about the concerns that were mentioned by the citizens of Troy that spoke. I think that from listening to what all the people involved in building this and putting this all together, it sounds to me that they've done their due diligence in making sure it's as safe as it possibly can be. I think, like somebody else mentioned, no matter where you go, where you're walking, where you're biking, where you're driving, it's on us to do our part to make sure we're being as safe as we can, because unfortunately we're not in control of what everybody else is doing. I also think that they did a great job in making it more than just a car wash with the plaza, and making it a beautiful addition to the city for people to hang out in that area and like make it walkable. And I understand the concerns that were noted, but to me, it feels like it would be such a great addition to the city of Troy and make it more of a community area. I love the signage. It just looks so welcoming. And to me, I wouldn't look at it and be like, this is a car wash. I just was like, oh, this is a cool little spot. Like, I'll grab some food and sit here with my family and visit our family at Rainbow Connection and see how everybody's doing there. Yeah, so I don't know. That's for me. I feel like this would do great things for the city and for the rest of the Rainbow Connection families that are affected by what's going on for their kids, and then how Rainbow Connection helps us. I think it would do wonders. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Anila Baska, and I am also a Rainbow Connection parent. You may have seen my son, who is in here. I think that I can echo what every Rainbow Connection parent would say. You're going to hear similar stories from all of us, how they have come behind us and supported us and walked us through some of the most precarious situations that we've been through. And we're about 10 years out from my son's diagnosis, and they're still part of our lives. So they have a long-standing commitment to their families. They are just not fly by the seat of their pants organization. And I echo what my sister before me said, that every concern that you have, and you as a city council, I think have the hardest hitting questions to this company that is presenting to you their plan for your city. And it's a beautiful plan. I've seen way more egregious looking car washes, and they've done everything to make this car wash look beautiful, to represent the beauty of Troy with the bright colors and partnering with Rainbow Connection. And as somebody who has worked with a lot of nonprofit organizations, to have that space where they can not worry about rent or overhead, where they can just worry about their families, is huge. And to know that there's somebody who is going to give back to, we're a small portion represented here, and there's so many families, and everything that Rainbow Connection does for their families. It's not just the wishes, it's paying bills, sitting with you as you're crying. And I've been to the home that's in Rochester too, and knowing that there's even more space and even more opportunity that they'll have. And it's not often that you hear of a company that's going to give back so much into an organization. It's unique in that they care so much, not just about the car wash, but about the families too, and buying into what Rainbow Connection actually does. And I've worked in Troy, and I understand, for several years we did, I understand the concerns that the people have. And I hope that based on everything that they have represented to you, with the harder questions, that would alleviate some of their concerns as residents of the city, that they're not going to make it be something that's obnoxious, and they don't want to put your community at risk, because everything that you you have asked, they've had an answer for. And everything that you've brought up that's a concern, they say, we'll adjust it, whatever you want us to do so that we can protect the community and serve these families, they've done and they've agreed to. So I think that that's something that you should take into consideration. It's not just the small community of Troy, but you're impacting communities in Macomb, Wayne, and Oakland by allowing the Rainbow Connection to have that space here as well. So thank you so much for your time.
Thank you.
Paul Buswan. I'm actually amazed by this renderings, how beautiful they are. And you can see my shirt, I'm in the car wash business. Not Elk Car Wash, I'm far away in Dearborn Heights, but I'm a resident of Troy. Usually, I'm against new car washes being built because they're oversaturated and they're being built on top of each other. But in this development, this is not the case. If I were to pick a location to build, it'd be this location because the closest car wash, I think, 2 miles? 16 in DeQuinder, Waddles in Rochester, in between Rochester and Big Beaver, and then the new Jack's. So this area, there's a big population residential that's gonna feed into this car wash. This rendering, I don't get amazed by car washes because I've been in this business all my life, and this is actually something amazing. And as a Troy resident, seeing that structure coming down that DeQuinder and seeing that's a wow. Indoor vacuums, it not only the benefits of it buffers the sound, but one thing that was not mentioned, it also holds all the dirt. So when it's outdoors, all the people that are using that stuff, they're throwing their garbage on the ground. Where's it going? It's blowing in the wind. When it's indoors, it's contained. But they've thought of everything to adapt to this city and make it, that it doesn't have such a hard impact in this area. They put a wall on the exit that buffers the sound of the tunnel, and that they've actually faced the tunnel to the main road of DeQuinder. So all that sound is just going to DeQuinder, which already has a high decibel. That's, I guess that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Go ahead.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, hi, I'm Trisha Vermeersch. I'm Mia's mom. Mia's actually going on her wish trip in just a couple weeks. So I just wanted to get up here and so you could hear from another wish parent on what this would mean. And as a wish parent who has pretty much lived either in their car, doctor's offices, or hospitals, to have a place inside where you could go and clean out your car, that alone is huge. The Rainbow Connection has made an impact, obviously, on our lives, but in the communities we serve. And the fact that Elk Car Wash wants to come to Troy and invest in Troy and bring the Rainbow Connection along, think of what that's gonna do to your community. Think of what that's gonna do to the kids in your community. Think of what that's gonna do to the parents and family in your community. It's not just a wish, it's for when times are tough. It's to support at Christmas, as someone else said. So I guess I would challenge you to look at this as not only do you have a beautiful business coming to your community, but a beautiful business that wants to bring in an organization to build roots and continue to impact the lives
of the families that live in Troy and the surrounding communities. Thank you. Sorry, I didn't know that was going to happen.
No, you did great. Thank you very much. Is there anyone else here who would like to speak? Okay, seeing no one, we'll go ahead and close the public hearing. Dave, did you want to come up and say something?
If our traffic consultant is here, if you had any questions this evening, I know there were some concerns that were brought up. Paul from VIP, spoke about, other car washes in the area. We have some exhibits talking about that. If you guys want to have, but I didn't have anything else to add unless you had any questions for me. Okay,
Thank you.
thanks. I'm available. Thank you.
Does anyone have any questions of the traffic consultant? Okay, so we're going to turn it back now and open the discussion for the Planning Commission. Mr. Hudson?
I think I'd like to talk a little bit about my observations of the traffic in Troy. In 1973, I moved my business to Troy. 2 years later, we bought a home in Troy. And I don't know if I should say this or not, but I'm going to. When I was in high school in Royal Oak, I was a visitor to Troy with some of my traveling companions who would get thirsty on a Friday night and drink a little beer in Walker's Gravel Pit, which is now Emerald Lake. But in any event, over the span of 50 or 60 years, I've seen businesses spring up in Troy like mushrooms after a spring rain. They've been good businesses. They have not infringed upon my freedom on the road. And I travel during the day too. And I can say that the only time I have had to come to a stop because of congestion is it's usually road construction who have closed lanes to improve the traffic flow. Our house, when we bought it, we had a driveway that was about like that steep, and our kids would get on big wheels, bang, down they'd go, make a quick turn down the street. But there were farm fields around us at that time. But we would put an adult at the corner, make sure no cars are coming around. Well, like everything else, we're in an urban neighborhood now with good neighbors. And I don't think that the particular traffic at one spot is enough to turn away a beautiful project. I've driven by, I think, almost every car wash in Troy over the years. I've never seen a lineup to get in. People coming and going, traffic control is good, and I think we're wasting a terrible opportunity if we turn this project down.
Okay. Mr. Fox?
Do we want to start with a motion to
Yes.
kick off? Okay. I will propose a motion so that we can have conversation around that. Proposed L Car Wash northwest corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder, 2955 and 2995 East Long Lake. Section 12, currently zoned neighborhood node G. I believe it's technically G right now, but that it'll be J after the ordinance rewrite? Okay. Whereas the application is incompatible with the character of the Long Lake and DeQuinder intersection as the building design and use does not serve as an appropriate gateway into Troy. Resolved that special use approval and site plan approval for the L Car Wash northwest corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder, 2955 and 2995 East Long Lake, Section 12, currently zoned neighborhood node G, be denied for the following reasons. Car wash as a special use is inconsistent with the pedestrian-centric focus of the master plan, both in general with the neighborhood nodes, but also relating specifically to neighborhood node G, where inter-pedestrian connections are meant to be an emphasis, thus making it easier to walk on the corner. This car wash will also have an undue impact on traffic compared to uses that are already permitted, thus going out of our way to give a special approval is not appropriate in my opinion. Also, internal circulation is insufficient. There is a lot of cars crisscrossing paths as well as cars crisscrossing with pedestrians. That is not satisfactory in my opinion. And as compared to permitted uses, this is a less compatible use with the neighboring uses when compared to other uses that are already allowed in the neighborhood node without a special use approval.
Do we have a second? I'll second the motion so we can discuss. Okay. Discussion?
Ms. Parakis?
Yes, Mr. Faison.
I didn't agree with everything Mr. Fox said, but I guess the one thing that most resonated with me is the lack of any pedestrian focus to the project. And I think the applicant's done a great job on the project, by the way. I think he's been very cooperative. I think they've been very accommodating, some of the requests. But just the note itself, I thought there was supposed to be some pedestrian focus and some, in the language talking about catering to local needs. You know, I don't see how this really does that.
Ms. Malala-Holly?
I seek a clarification. Did we get an explanation about why there is a 21.2-foot relief that they are seeking? Did we get an explanation from the applicant, or did I not hear?
Well, in the neighborhood node, it's a build up to the, I think it's 10 feet. So they're 30 feet, and they have that bump out that's 21 feet.
And so we are good with that, as...
Well, we would have to, that would be part of, I mean, if we were approving the project, we would have to
Look into that, yeah.
waive it.
To the resolution that just got read out and seconded, two things that stand out for me and has always stood out. A, I agree that, I understand that this is coming through to us as a mixed-use project, but it's also very heavily auto-centric. The massing, after I saw the covered vacuum space, the massing, that huge thing that's going to sit at the intersection, I'm still wrapping my head around it as to how it's going to look as a gateway to Troy entrance. I'm very supportive of the nonprofit cause and in support of the space that they need and how the applicant is looking into supporting and helping nonprofits, which is commendable, indeed. I just feel that the massing has increased from the last application to this one. And for a car wash, 2-story car wash, this big size, sitting at the intersection, I still have to weigh in on that. So that's my 2 cents.
Okay. Mr. Fox?
Yeah, I guess to expound upon kind of the points and the reason I put forward a denial motion, I think it's very important to separate that this is ultimately an application for a car wash. The mission of the Rainbow Connection, the people that they help, absolutely a wonderful mission, absolutely a fantastic organization, that if they find a place in Troy, I would absolutely love to have them be a part of our community. But we ultimately are looking at a car wash that has an office attached. This site, without any type of special use approval, could be a restaurant with office attached, it could be residential with office attached, it could be lower intensity commercial with office attached. When we're tasked with reviewing a special use approval, we are basically as a commission saying this special use provides more value than any of the other options that are just permitted by right at the site. And to me, a car wash, considering we have spent the better part of 6 months to a year working on rewriting our zoning ordinance to completely ban all auto-centric uses in the neighborhood nodes, it would be incredibly inconsistent of us to then turn around and say, hey, city council, change the ordinance, don't allow any auto-centric uses except for this one instance on this one corner. I think it would leave us, I think we would be sending a very confusing message to city council in terms of the direction that we want to see the neighborhood nodes go. And I think that as much as it would be absolutely wonderful, you know, my dream obviously is that, you know, a restaurant comes in and they offer an office space to the Rainbow Connection or any other specific nonprofit. ultimately, I think a car wash just runs antithesis to what we've been trying to build as a board for the better part of the time that I've been on here, so.
Mr. Crown.
Just a quick comment regarding the massing. This is a node A, type A, which is the largest, biggest.
It would be B.
And consistent with our ordinances to have the corners the tallest. So I don't see anything, no objection at all, because it's basically building to what we asked them to. They were gonna have a one-story, but our staff can basically talk with them, and they basically are going 2 stories specifically because of our ordinance.
Sorry, I do not wish to argue with Mr. Krant. I just want to clarify, with the way that we have presented the ordinance to City Council, both of the sites involved in this project would become site type B, not site type A.
But still.
But yes, still, the applicant could
the
come in and
massing
present.
should be at the corner.
Yes, yes.
Mr. Tagle?
I'd like to address a couple of the comments I've heard. I agree with Mr. Krent, not only from a massing standpoint, but how they've developed the different masses breaks down the mass, if you will. So they've made it gentle. We've talked about more fenestration, more glass, to make it a more inviting front door, if you will. I like Ms. Mahali's comment about a deceleration lane. That's really the only traffic concern I have, is to slow down a right-hand turn lane on a westbound DeQuinder. If you look at this, at the geometry of the road on DeQuinder, on DeQuinder, it's a right turn in and a right turn out. There's no left turn from a northbound car. So really, if you're turning into a parking lot and turning out of a parking lot, it's the same difference. I don't know about if there's going to be a left turn when you're coming out of the Long Lake side of it. I don't know that. We probably could have asked them. But with the deceleration lane, I think that would offset that concern. So from a traffic standpoint, I agree with a number of the comments that when there are automobiles and pedestrians and people on bikes, I would say everybody, and we can't control everybody, but if you're on the bike, or if you're walking, or if you're in the car, you should be paying attention to what's going on around you. I mean, we can't dictate that through the Planning Commission. As far as autocentric, we had this discussion last time they were in front of us, and I totally disagree with eliminating the cars from this corner. I don't care what you put there. People are going to come in cars, whether it's an office building, whether it's a residence. I mean, we've talked about residents, and how many cars is that going to have? How many trips are residents going in and out twice a day? So this is like, you drive in, you're probably there, if you're on site for 10 minutes, you're probably there a long time, unless they're doing a bang-up job. So I'm not so concerned with, we live in as much as we try to fight it, this is Detroit. Detroit was built on the automobile. It'll be a long time before the automobile goes away. We don't have any mass transit. We don't have any downtown to walk. Everybody goes everywhere in a car. So to say that this isn't an appropriate development to serve the community, which I believe it is serving the community, I think is not accurate. There was one other point I was going to make, and I've lost it. So if it comes back to me, I will raise my hand again.
Okay, sounds good. I think Mr. Buechner wanted to say something.
Wise people up here, I respect every one of you. I've heard, and I can't disagree with a lot of different things that have been said, but just my 2 cents. For one, city council is going to be city council, and they're going to vote how they're going to vote. We can't consider that. That's not something we should do. We should do it based on what we think. There's been people out there saying another business should do it this way. I'm from here. I'm a businessman. I've never seen anything like this project, and I'm a fan of it. We are all residents. All 9 of us are residents in Troy. We've lived here for a long time. I haven't lived here as long as him, but I'm 30 years. I'm newer to the Planning Commission in the last few years. We've done a lot of change and good things in the city of Troy. This is one, when we get old, that we can look back and say, we made a difference. I've never seen a project, the car wash on its own is a whole nother thing. To add the second story is special, and it's something that I would feel proud of and I would like to go the other direction and recommend a deceleration lane, and that's what I would, I'm getting out of my, the legal guy's gonna keep me in line here, but I'm not in favor of the not approving the other direction.
I'm not really sure I understood your comment about city council. I mean, you know that
No. So
we're not recommending.
tonight is tonight, and we have a vote to give, and we will do that. So whatever city council's next, so they can deny.
Well, that's
it.
what I'm saying. They're not next. I mean, we're not a recommending body on this. We're voting.
So they don't have any say?
Nope.
I'm sorry. So I was wrong in that statement.
Yeah, I just wanted to make
My
sure we
apologies.
were all on the same page.
I thought city council had some say.
Nope.
Okay. Sorry.
Yes, Mr.
No,
Bush.
yeah, I absolutely appreciate the points brought up. I think they make a lot of sense. My reference to city council was specifically referencing how we are sending ordinance language to them, ordinance language that we have worked to specifically remove the auto-centric uses from the corners.
Hear ya.
Not that they would be voting on this specific build. As a special use, this would be the final vote on it. But I absolutely understand wanting to take like a deep look at the traffic, and I do appreciate that. I think my point when you're comparing this build to other possible builds that are already permitted on the site is that a car wash, the type of traffic that it's generating, to Mr. Tagle's point, is kind of the 10-minute immediately cycling out, immediately cycling in. Whereas with something like a residential use or the current restaurant use or say an office use, you would have cars that are removed from the road for an extended period of time. Whereas the cars that are going through the car wash are then immediately cycling out and cycling in, and we're creating more interaction between the vehicles and pedestrians. As I said, the site circulation creates a lot of cross paths between vehicles, and that to me is where this specific special use request detracts value compared to something that is already permitted under our ordinance without a special use approval. Would be just specifically the way that the traffic is cycling and the way that it's interacting with each other on the site and potentially off the site on the major roadways. So I do appreciate the points about traffic though, absolutely.
Mr. Tagle.
I remembered.
Oh, good.
Mixed use. There's been a challenge that this really isn't a mixed use. And I would like to understand if this isn't a mixed use, having two separate uses, totally separate. They're not related in what they do, the organization types, anything. If that's not a mixed use, I guess I'm not sure what a mixed use is. I've been in the business long enough to see a lot of mixed use opportunities.
Well, let me ask the question, and maybe it's for the attorney, is, I mean, have we seen the contract with Rainbow Connection so we know, I mean, it's not really part of the application. They're here, they're telling us, but it's not part of the application that Rainbow Connection is using that.
I would say it is not of significance because you cannot impose a condition based on who uses the property. You can only impose conditions based on the use of the property itself. So whether it's Rainbow Connection or somebody else, it doesn't matter. It's the conditions you have to impose have to be based on the use of the property, not who uses it. While I got the floor, because this was a case that did go to a lawsuit, the resolution might want an additional paragraph justifying the denial based on things that were presented at the meeting. I mean, it could be based on public comment, material presented, just maybe an additional paragraph to support the denial based on the record.
Do we do the vote first, or do we discuss what he just said?
You should do that first.
Yeah, go ahead, Mr. Fox.
No, I very much appreciate the point from both the legal team and again, the point as to mixed use. I would say this is an absolutely fantastic build in a different location. And I don't make this motion under the assumption that there's some kind of a potential deception. I don't think that's the case. I think everyone here is being very genuine in that, you know, the office space is going to go to the Rainbow Connection, absolutely, and they're absolutely going to build the car wash and run it properly and probably run it well. I visited the El Car Wash that's 2 miles south, just south of Big Beaver, myself, and it's a good car wash. It's a fantastic car wash. I think the reason I put this motion forward isn't because I'm worried about anything in that regard. I think it's great that it's mixed use. I appreciate the permeable surface. I appreciate the amount of green on the property. I appreciate the amenities. I think that again, in a different location, this is the type of build that I dream about. I'm like, this is great. It's just with this specific location, being in a neighborhood node, being the potential to interfere with traffic, but then also just being a gateway to Troy. I think having, folks who are coming from Sterling Heights, whether they're coming home from work or coming into the city to come home, having their first impression of Troy be a car wash is just something that I personally don't think is appropriate for the city of tomorrow. That's all about innovating and all about doing, I guess moving forward. So that's just me. I'm one of 9 people though, ultimately, so.
So do you have a reason legally so to support?
Oh, yes,
that
of course,
was the
of course.
question here.
Yeah, I'm more than down to amend the motion to factor in stuff that's been discussed in the meeting. I don't know if me just saying it or if officially
You could
putting it
refer
in the
to a
motion.
public comment, you could refer to material, just something that is part of the
Yeah.
record. I think that's what the judge was looking for.
Of course. Okay, thank you very much for referencing the request from the judge. So specifically, we've had a number of residents who live in the surrounding communities, both in person, but then also we've received a series of emails regarding residents who are opposed to the build as a whole due to their own concerns about traffic, which I know, compared to a scientific study of traffic is always to be, taken and measured for what it is. But I also think specifically with this node, there's an emphasis on providing services to the surrounding residents. And as it currently stands, the overwhelming feedback that we've received from residents is that they are not in favor of this. Now, I'm not saying that there's not gonna be a single resident that uses the car wash. Absolutely, there more than likely will be. But the fact that the residents who have chosen to make their opinions known have kind of stated that this is not something that they are interested in, leads me to say that this kind of lacks the oomph for the surrounding residents that I would want to put behind a special use approval.
Yes, Mr. Hudson.
I'd like to suggest that our deliberations should not take into consideration a reservation of a lot in the city of Troy because the commission, for instance, doesn't like it. If we had a butcher shop there, I suppose you might like not to have it there. But we can't tell a developer who's bought it, got a plan, and seemingly is going to be approved tonight, that he can't do it because we would rather have, you just tell me the building that you would rather have there and tell the developer, too bad. I think that's wrong.
Yes, Mr. Sabanat.
Just a point of clarification. It's not going to change the motion in any way, but it is node J as in John.
Okay.
So I don't know if we have to amend the motion for something factual. It doesn't change the motion in any way except that it's J presently.
Yeah, but Ms. Zarnicki, could we just edit that?
It's neighborhood J, correct?
J.
Yes,
Thank you very much.
And also, and perhaps more importantly, the one argument that has been mentioned a number of times, and I don't remember if it was in the motion or not, but it gives me heartburn, is the mention of the fact that there's language that this body has made a recommendation and forwarded to City Council, and they've reviewed once, but they postponed and they have not adopted yet. The applicant submitted this application under an ordinance that was in place at the time and continues to be in place at the time, and those are the rules that the report was based on. Those are the requirements of the city in terms of zoning, and those are the requirements that they're compelled to comply with. Not the language that has not been adopted yet. I just want to, I don't think it's reasonable and fair to hold that against them, that some things may change in the future. They haven't changed yet. This is our law today.
Yep, understood. Mr. Buechner.
Can we vote?
We have to second that. Was it called an amendment to the motion?
I didn't know if we needed an official amendment to change it to J. Is that what you're referencing, Mr. Kratman?
No.
The justification.
Give the justification to the courts.
The justification.
It should get a second.
It should get a second. Okay, so then the previous language I discussed, Ms. Zarnicki, would you want me to repeat for the sake of your record keeping?
No.
Okay.
No, I've got what you amended. We just need a support for it.
Much appreciated. Thank you, Mr. Kratman.
I'll support that.
Thank you.
I'll just say that, I'll just add a couple things. I mean, I think that I agree with a lot of what people have said tonight. I love the Rainbow Connection. There's no doubt they're a terrific organization. I think that the car wash has done a really great job. I do have concerns, though, about this location. You know, nowhere in Troy can you build a car wash by right. It's always a special use. And the standards that we use, we're always comparing it to the impacts of permitted uses. So one of the first standards is compatibility with adjacent uses, and it's in determining whether a special use will be harmonious and not create a significant detrimental impact as compared to the impacts of permitted uses. So when I look at the compatibility with adjacent uses, and we're talking about the gateway into Troy, and you're heading west into Troy from Sterling Heights, you have a gas station on the south side, and now we're talking about putting a car wash on the north side. So to me, that's not really compatible, or, you know, compared to what could be there, that's a permitted use. I think we could do better on that. I don't think it's compatible with the master plan because there is, you know, Mr. Faison said, you know, a focus on pedestrians, you know, pedestrian use and serving the you know, the community that way. In terms of traffic, I mean, I understand what you said, Mr. Tagle, but I think that the volume of cars exiting and entering this location is so high as compared to other permitted uses. So to me, it generates much more traffic to an already very busy intersection. So I definitely have concerns also with the circulation inside when we're talking about being packed and cars stacking and all the different ways that you can go. So those are some of the reasons that I have concerns. Does anyone else have anything, or are we ready for a vote?
Ready for a vote.
Okay.
Clarification, this is on the amendment then?
Correct.
Step 1, the amendment. Step 2, the vote on the total motion.
Okay.
Correct, yes?
Yes, we're
Right,
going to start
okay.
with the amendment.
Okay. Mr.
Yeah, go ahead, Ms. Malaha.
Just for the benefit of me, can you please repeat step 1, what, step 2?
Absolutely. So the amended language per the recommendation of City Legal Counsel was to add in justification based on what we had heard in the specific meetings. Specifically, what I brought up was residential feedback that we received regarding, what's the word I would use? Disapproval of the addition to this location, and then I brought that back to the master plan, referencing how part of what we consider when we're talking about what goes in the neighborhood nodes are things that will bring use and value to residents. So it's more of it would be adding that into the motion originally, which was the motion to deny.
Okay, I think we're ready for the vote.
So if we vote yes, it's a denial.
If we vote
No.
yes, it's just changing the original
Changing
motion.
the original motion.
The first vote we're going to do right now is amending the
The motion.
motion to deny to include more evidence of why we would deny it.
Yep.
And then we're going to vote on the motion to deny.
Mr. Hudson?
No.
Mr. Krent?
No.
Mr. Lambert? Was that no, Mr. Lambert? Thank you. Ms. Malahali?
No.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
No.
Mr. Biekner?
No.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
There's 3 yeses and 6 nos, so it fails.
So the
So it'd be on the
amendment
original.
fails. Okay.
So now we'd be on the original motion.
Okay. Okay, Mr. Faison.
But the original motion isn't sufficient
I know.
based on what
Yeah,
you
that's
said,
what
right?
my confusion
That's the
was.
motion, it's the motion you have now, so you have to vote on the motion to deny at this point, based on the
Yeah.
original motion.
So this would be the official vote to deny. What was,
I think it's a little
I'm
bit
super
confusing.
confused, sorry, Ms. City Attorney. I'm confused. So, we were supposed to give ample reasons for why we would agree for a denying of this application.
That is correct.
Which was provided just now but was voted down.
Yes.
Yes.
But the original motion that was suggested and seconded was insufficient. But we are going to vote on it on an insufficient.
That's what's happening, correct?
That's what's happening.
A majority of the planning commission voted to deny the motion.
The amendment.
The amendment.
The amendment.
Yes.
So what,
Go ahead, Mr.
the original motion does include reasoning, specifically citing that it's inconsistent to the master plan, in the opinion of the motion, has an undue traffic impact compared to other uses that are allowed by right. Internal circulation creates too much confusion with the way that vehicles crisscross each other, as well as crossing pedestrians with vehicles, as well as compared to permitted uses, this is less compatible with neighboring uses, specifically referencing as a gateway entrance to Troy. So those are what are in the original motion. However, Mr. Monsney had advised us that we would specifically add references to conversation and discussion that happened in the meeting, as opposed to just citing the connections to the master plan and the zoning ordinance.
Thank you for the
Yeah.
But the amendment did not pass. So now we're going to take a vote on the resolution itself, which is a motion to deny the application tonight. Yes, Mr. Lambert?
Just to speak to the main motion, I'm certainly sympathetic to the concerns that it may appear that we're being inconsistent because the master plan says this shouldn't be built here, but I have to vote based upon the actual ordinance language, and the ordinance does allow something like this to be built here, so I will be voting no on the main motion.
Thank you. Okay, I think we're ready for the vote.
Okay. Mr. Krant?
No.
Mr. Lambert?
No.
Ms. Malala-Holly?
No.
Ms. Parakis?
Yes.
Mr. Tagle?
No.
Mr. Biegner?
No.
Mr. Faison?
Yes.
Mr. Fox?
Yes.
Mr. Hudson?
No.
Okay, we have 3 yeses, 3 yeses and 6 noes, so it
Okay,
fails.
thank you. Okay, so, yes. Okay, okay. Yep, we'll take a quick 5-minute recess.
Thank you.
Resume the meeting now, if everyone would like to take their seats.
Right.
I told him if there was a standard.
Feeling better, Tom?
All right, thank you for allowing that short recess. Okay, so we just failed to pass the motion to deny, and so we're back to discussion, but we'd like another resolution on the floor for that discussion.
And I could put that together.
Please, go ahead.
Okay, again, starting with proposed El Car Wash, northwest corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder, 2955 and 2995 East Long Lake, Section 12, currently zoned NN Neighborhood Node J zoning district. Whereas the Planning Commission, oh, wrong one. Whereas the Planning Commission supports the placement of the building 21.2 feet to the Long Lake right-of-way based on the justification that it would enhance the front-end pedestrian use of that area. Whereas the application is compatible with the character of Long Lake and DeQuinder intersection, which consists of a mix of regional and convenience retail and service uses as shown by the gas stations, the restaurants in that area. Whereas the application, because it's not abutting any residential, whereas the application, as shown by the Stonefield Engineering and Design Site Development Plan, is compatible with the master plan, which describes this particular node as predominantly commercial, catering to both local needs and regional traffic. New development and redevelopment should be mostly commercial, identifying opportunities for small office and mixed use. Whereas the application will not have a negative impact on public services, including water and sewer utilities. Whereas the application complies with the objective standards of the zoning ordinance. And should I read all those things into it, or can I just leave it at that?
You're the motion maker. You.
All right. All right. Okay, I will continue then. Demonstrated by its compatibility to Section 9.03 and Section 8.06. The applicant made significant revisions to the site plan, which reduced the automotive character and use by adding the internal enclosed parking area for the 17 vacuum spaces, whereas the applicant complies with the site plan review design standards in Section 8.06, and will eliminate 2 outdoor vacuum stations on the west side of the outside vacuum stations and 2 vacuum stations on the east side to make them parking spaces. So it's a total of 4 specific parking spaces, not vacuums. Include a deceleration lane for the westbound traffic if approved by the Road Commission of Oakland County. Provide some kind of a prominent entrance on Long Lake for the Rainbow Connection, either with canopy, especially with more window areas, and add transparency along the Long Lake side of the building to meet the city requirements. Resolved that special use approval and preliminary site plan approval for the proposed El Car Wash, northwest corner of Long Lake and DeQuinder, 2955 and 2995 East Long Lake, Section 12, currently zoned NN Neighborhood Node J, District be granted.
Is that a second?
Yes.
Okay, seconded by Mr. Biegner. Well done. You got a lot in there.
I know Mr. Krant referred to the conditions, but he should probably just refer to them again, subject to the following conditions.
Oh, okay. Subject, the conditions are that it meets,
With regard to the deceleration lane.
oh, you repeat those extra, okay, the extra things, okay.
Parking, manner, and.
Okay, eliminate 2 outdoor vacuum stations on the west side of the outdoor vacuum areas and 2 vacuum sites on the east side of that same strip of outdoor vacuums. Include a deceleration lane for the westbound traffic on Long Lake if approved by the Road Commission of Oakland County. Add a canopy or other features to give the entrance for the Rainbow Connection entrance more prominence on Long Lake. And then add transparency to the Long Lake side of the building to meet the city requirements.
Did you mention the deceleration lane,
Oh,
subject to
did I
approval
say
by
that?
RCOC?
He did. You said that, didn't
Yeah,
you?
that was the second thing I said.
Oh, okay.
Yes,
He
yes,
said
you
that.
did.
I missed it.
Okay.
I would second that if you'd let me.
Okay. So that is the resolution. It wasn't amended, that was the resolution.
Correct.
Okay. Discussion. Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, I understand that there's obviously concerns about traffic on Long Lake. Hopefully, the Road Commission of Oakland County will approve the decel lane as one way to calm down traffic proceeding down Long Lake. I know just about anywhere you go on Long Lake nowadays. I know I drop my daughter, or pick my daughter up at daycare farther down Long Lake, and I'm always looking in the rearview mirror to make sure somebody's not right up on my tail. So hopefully this will deal with some of the traffic concerns. And I know if you look at social media, the belief is car washes are going up all over the city of Troy, but if you look at this list that the planning commissioner, Mr. Savadan, has provided us, the majority of them were built 15 to 20 years ago in Troy, and only 3 have been approved in the past 3 years. In addition to that, when you look, I think when a lot of people who were concerned about car washes in Troy, when they see the building design, they see the name of the Rainbow Connection on it and see that a major philanthropic association, organization will be using part of that facility, I think some of the concerns about a car wash will tend to be abated.
Thank you. Ms. Malala Holly.
Honestly, I came into this meeting thinking I'm going to be a solid no. Not because I'm against car washes, but I'm just against car washes in certain areas or locations. But hearing today's comments, I must say a lot of the concerns that I had kind of went away, and justifiably so. I know this is a application for a car wash, but the fact that we will also be supporting a non-profit organization sits well with me today. And the massing was a concern, but I know some of the expert opinions that were shared today tells me that they are seasoned people sitting on on this commission as opposed to me, and I will go based off of their seasoned opinions, and I'll be happy to vote yes on this motion.
Thank you. Anyone else? All right, I think we're ready for the vote.
Mr. Lambert.
Yes.
Ms. Malala Holly.
Yes.
Ms. Parakis.
No.
Mr. Tagle.
Yes.
Mr. Biegner.
Yes.
Mr. Faison.
No.
Was that a no, Mr. Faison?
Yes,
Thank you.
that's a no.
Mr. Fox.
No.
Mr. Hudson.
Yes.
Mr. Krant.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Thank you. All right, thank you very much. Congratulations.
That wasn't such a big chore now, was it?
We're going to move on now.
Usually they just storm out.
We're going to go ahead and continue with our meeting. So the next order of business is public comment for items on the agenda. So if anyone's here who would like to speak on the agenda item that was just presented, now's your time to come. Okay, so seeing nobody, we'll move on to Planning Commission comment. I'm going to go ahead and start with Ms. Malala Holly.
Two questions or clarifications, if you will, to Mr. Sabadant and Mr. Carlyle. Since these are special uses, the car wash in neighborhood nodes, why is it that a traffic study is not usually accompanied with the application? Why is it that we don't do it as part of the process?
Why is it not automatically required?
Yes.
Just because every property is different, every application is different, every applicant's different. So we leave the discretion for the determination to the city engineer, the professional.
In spite of the fact that we have so much of car movement happening at intersections such as the one that we just looked into, we don't require a traffic study?
We don't require a traffic study automatically. So I can't speak for the city engineer, but I'm guessing he would have weighed factors like he would have looked at crash data. He would have looked at the fact that the approaches that are proposed are essentially in the same place that they are today, so they're not really changing. He would have looked at whether it was he felt the road commission was going to require a deceleration lane at an appropriate entrance. He would have looked at trip generation, that type of thing, and he would have looked at all these different factors and made a determination whether it was appropriate for the applicant to go through the effort of preparing a traffic study.
I see. Okay. My second clarification that I seek is, historically we have people commenting on the agenda after the proposal has either passed or denied. Is there a reason why we have the comment on the agenda item after the agenda has either passed and or denied? What's the rationale behind that? Because if I were, let's just say if I wanted to say something, but it's not a public hearing, and I'm coming into this meeting, and I want to deny it, let's say, I don't like that idea, and here I am sitting, and all the folks in front of me have already deliberated and decided on it, and my voice is essentially not of any use because I'm coming way after the decision has been made. I'm just curious.
We actually oh, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that's the process, the order of business that the Planning Commission determined was appropriate and incorporated into the Planning Commission bylaws. Now, to your point, there's kind of an unwritten rule that the chair of the City of Troy Planning Commission typically allows people in the audience to address comments to the board even when items aren't public hearings. So effectively, the comments are generally made during the deliberation, but not required by bylaws.
We discussed this when we were reviewing the bylaws. One thing to think about is we put the public comment for items not on the agenda up front, so people who come and want to speak and leave don't have to sit through a 2.5-hour meeting to say something that's not going to be discussed. The other thing that we wanted to make sure of is that if we have the public comment for items on the agenda before the application is presented, we find that the people are coming and raising issues without having the benefit of heard the presentation by the city and the applicant. So we feel that it's better for people to hold their comments until they've actually heard the presentation. Now, it is true that it is up to the chair. So if we get someone in this seat who says, nope, it's not a public hearing, I'm not allowing public comment, yeah, that's pretty bad, because in the bylaws would allow that chairperson to not allow public comment. But historically, it's always been permitted. And then we do put it at the end, sort of as a formality. Hardly ever anyone comes and speaks. Yep, Mr. Tagle?
And they also have the opportunity, we get emails of before the meeting if people have an opinion, so that's always part of our packet, or at least here when we come in. So there are other opportunities for people to share their opinions on an item before we hear it.
Yes, Mr. Sabadant.
The Open Meetings Act does not require providing opportunities to speak on every item. does not. Now, it's admittedly, it can be a very bad look, but
That makes sense. No, listening to the arguments, and of course, the applicant makes perfect sense for anybody. But my thought process was not for a public hearing, it was more for non-public hearing based items that I was looking into. But thank you so much for weighing in.
Mr. Buechner? Mr. Hudson?
No, nothing.
Mr. Faison?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Lambert?
Just I already mentioned this to our esteemed staff, that the bylaws that we talked about months ago about changing how we designate which dates we meet on, they are done essentially, so hopefully you guys can decide when you want to bring it to the whole full planning commission, so.
yeah, because she's not here, I'm going to blame Julie.
Okay, that's good.
If she was sitting here, I wouldn't blame Julie. No, we'll get it on next meeting.
And the other thing I wanted to kind of reflect on or mention, Ms. Barden, is we appreciate your comments when you come up here, because we don't always agree with what you say, but it's appropriate to hear from you, because we sometimes realize after the fact, oh, we made a mistake, sorry about that, but keep reminding us when you think we mess up, so.
Update and then a comment. Update, ZBA will not be meeting in the month of April. I believe I've gotten the email canceling all that. Otherwise, that's it as a ZBA liaison. As for, I guess a comment, I know City Council had their reasonings for wanting to postpone the ordinance language that was presented to them. I would highly implore City Council to take a look at that ordinance language and consider making a decision, yay or nay, on it as soon as possible. Simply put, we as a body, we've decided that we don't want the neighborhood nodes to have like car washes, gas stations, like auto-centric uses. But while we're still stuck in this gray area without the ordinance officially changing to like back that decision up, we do end up in this kind of gray area where we have these applications and we're, it's unclear which way we'll end up going. So I do implore City Council to take a look at that as soon as they are able to.
Thank you.
Oh, boy, it's Planners Gathering. This will be Wednesday, April 22nd. The item is the Veterans Community Project, Tiny Houses, Big Impact.
Sounds interesting.
Your turn.
Mr. Tagle?
Nothing from me.
Mr. Matson?
No, thank you.
I can't follow that.
Do you want to say anything about City Council?
Ben and I made a presentation to City Council about the neighborhood node text and map provisions. There was a lot of really good back and forth with City Council. They proposed a few changes that we've made in the draft document. They postponed the item to a date certain of May 11th, so we'll be back in front of them May 11th. They understand the time sensitivity. We collectively took a little bit longer time than we thought we were going to, because I think we wanted to get the details right. We spent a lot of time. We went over literally every word in the document. I think it's a really good document. It took longer than we wanted, but I think we did some really good work.
I have a question about it. I did watch some of it, and one of the things that they had asked was to be able to be the ones who approve the consolidation of site types. And I think Mayor Baker had asked procedurally how that would look, and I was curious about that as well, because if is an applicant really going to invest all the time and money to bring an application, assuming a consolidation, without knowing if they have the approval for the consolidation and having to go to City Council, you know what I mean? It's a little bit of a...
Well, they do that, they do that dance for conditional rezonings, for cluster developments, for planned unit developments. So
okay.
it's
just
consistent
one of those things they do. Okay.
Yeah. And as I explained to council, right now, it's a zoning administrator that makes that. So we thought we were doing a really good thing. But I can buy the argument. It makes a lot of sense.
And it's not going to happen often. I think it's going to be a pretty rare occurrence.
Madam Chairman.
I think Mr. Tagle was about to say something.
Can you speak a little bit as to what you know about this potential state law change, taking away the control?
You took my question.
So he knows a lot too.
What was the question? I couldn't hear it.
So there's nine bills that are for being considered by the legislature. They would all in some way circumvent local zoning for various items like setbacks, allowing accessory dwelling units by right, reducing the minimum lot size significantly, a whole bunch of other changes. I made an argument to City Council on August 6th. My argument was that Troy is already, I think, leading the charge in terms of approving housing options, apartments, townhomes, single-family homes, and we should not be treated the same as every other community in the state of Michigan. Every community is different, and every community should have a different approach. But I want to give Ben an opportunity to speak as well. He's put a lot of thought into it. He's written some letters to the legislature, and I want to provide him an opportunity.
Yeah, it's I don't think I've ever seen anything like this being done in the years I've been here, that the state's being so heavy-handed with prescribing prescriptive requirements that not only would it apply to Troy, it would apply to communities that have 200 residents, and it would apply to the city of Detroit that's got, a significant population. We work for 80 communities or plus or minus in the state. Not a single one of our communities supports this legislation moving forward. This was being pushed as a housing issue, I think by some special interest groups. And some of the legislation is good policy, and the good policy is what most of our communities have already adopted. But this is usurping local control and putting it at the state level, which we really never support that type of effort. There was a lot of uproar about it a month ago. It's sort of died down. I think there's been so much pushback from local governments. SEMCOG is extremely involved and on top of this. Michigan Townships Association doesn't support this. Michigan Municipal League has come out against this. I believe the Council of Mayors and the City Managers Organization has come out against it. It is still in committee and has not passed committee. So I have a feeling it's not going to go anywhere. That being said, we're all on top of this to make sure that we give our input moving forward. I'm supposed to actually testify to the legislature next month about this effort. And we'll see where it goes, but there's been strong pushback. And to Brett's point, the progressive communities that we work for are already doing this. But this just takes it to another level and mandates stuff that most of us would not feel comfortable doing in our communities. So we'll have more as more progresses, but right now that's kind of where it stands.
Okay. Ms. Barakis, can I
Yes,
ask a
Mr.
question? I'm just curious, are there any states where laws like that have been implemented?
We're not aware of any states that have gone this far into implementing. There are certainly
so not
some.
in California or some.
There's some. Brent just mentioned there are some cities that have gone this far, but that was a city local action to determine to make these. It was not a statewide mandate anywhere.
Right.
Yeah.
Got it. Right.
So, no, we're not aware of any state mandates like this anywhere in the country. Yeah, there's some.
Thank
city,
you.
Yeah.
Ms. Malala Holly.
Just wanted to say this. For those of you who want to read this article, it came out in the Detroit Free Press. The title is Zoning Limits Bills Prompt Cities and Towns to Fight Michigan Lawmakers. Brent and I connected over this article, but I can send it to Brent and he can forward it to all. But the thing that caught my attention was the statement here, where State Rep Christian Grant said that the bills now in a Michigan House Committee would allow for smaller lot sizes and smaller setbacks, paving the way for more affordable homes. That caught my attention. But I'll forward it to Brent and he can forward it to all of you. It's a pretty interesting read.
Thank you. All right. I think we're all set.
Yeah, I'm done.
All right. Oh, wait. Mr. Sevena, did you want to talk about the Memorial Day?
You're the best. The Planning Commission meeting, May 28th, is the day after Memorial Day weekend. I know that some of us that this table have plans that weekend, and I'm assuming some people
May-
at other tables maybe have plans. and I was
May
wondering-
26th?
The fourth Tuesday in
Yeah, May 26th, okay.
And it's right after the long weekend. We were wondering if it would be a good idea to postpone that meeting.
There's nothing pressing on the agenda.
Technically, we're canceling the
To
meeting.
cancel, I'm sorry, I'm tired, to cancel the meeting.
I'll vote yes on that.
I don't think we need a vote, right?
Yeah, we don't need a vote. We
No, I'm
just
just
kind
kidding.
of,
I'm
I
just
saw a lot of
kidding.
head nods.
Yeah.
We could have the
So we can-
discussion on the bylaws that day, so.
I think you lost the word, Dave.
Point taken, Mr. Lambert.
Yeah, all right. Okay, so I think that's everything. So thanks, everyone. Have a good night.
Thank you.